tonight it's a bit of a different one because we've got a couple of people in the chat with us because John and I are actually involved in a bit of track work tonight. So everybody say hi to John. How are you, Johnny?
I'm alright, yourself?
Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Fresh off a win, so that's always a good thing, but I'm sure I'll not repeat the pleasure. Got a couple of people in the room with us. We've got Daz, we got Rex, we got Jay, TFO who's not on a mic, and we've got a ring in who we don't know who's not in the party. So we're just doing some racing. We'll probably get tired of this at some point and either jump over to our Saturday practice with JD Brooks in the Down Under series, or we'll do our usual and jump in and do some liveries. But for now, I guess just sit back, enjoy the racing and the banter between us bunch of clowns. We all like to give each other a bit of niggle, not just on the track, but verbally as well. So
can I just point something out? Rex is Jay.
Ah, my bad. What's Holden Montana? What's his name?
Rodney.
Rodney. Fuck, I always forget Rodney. Sorry, Rodney.
Don't worry, we try to forget him a lot.
I feel bad. Sorry, Rex is Jay, Jay is Rex, and Rodney is Montana. Alright, it's in my brain. Alright, well I'm going to drive the Porsche again because the Viper that I drove here before was rubbish. And here we go. What are you driving, John?
I'm in Brocky's, well, it's been BMW Group 4, but I'm in Brocky's Motorola Auto Art car.
The Auto Art, the black and gold and white.
Yeah.
We talked about that car last week, didn't we? Because we did the...
fucking dog.
He's not talking to me, everyone, he's talking to his car.
Yeah, sorry, it's in the fence at the moment.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember if we... Yes, we did, actually, because we spoke about the line.
Yeah, we were on the Bs, yeah. Get up to the Bs in your livery list.
But I think we missed Alpha altogether.
Yes, we did, and you've got quite a few nice ones too. So we'll have to circle back to that. Interesting. Everybody's gone quiet because we're now broadcasting on YouTube. That's how to shut them all up. Tell them you're on YouTube.
Okay, that's it.
And there's the band of folks that I talked about. What's everybody else driving? What are you driving, Jay?
Badly.
Oh, again? Again?
Oh, Robocop wheel.
Yeah, Robocop. It's a direct drive, isn't it? The wheel? Yeah.
Well, it doesn't drive at all at the moment.
Yeah. When it works, it's a direct drive. God, this car won't stop there. You can hear it barking. Oh! Wow! Okay. That's a first for me. Never hit that little foam thing. Oh, and it gave me a penalty too. 1.425 seconds. Love it. Love the equity built into this game. Go off track, lose 8 seconds, get a penalty. What are you driving, Rodney? Oh, which one? Oh, the TT. Ah, okay. Yeah, good luck with that. Yeah, Wheelspin City. They're fast, but out of slow corners, not so great.
Doesn't matter how much you play with it, it's going to spin. Them things are just all on spinning.
They got too much juice. Too much juice for a front-wheel drive car.
Yeah, we did really well in that season too.
Well, let's face it, it was in a league that probably remaining unnamed.
So the boys are referring to a league that runs called M&R. I still race in it on a Monday night. TFO who's in the... Oh, it's done it to me again! You're kidding! TFO who races in it is in the room with us, but he's not mic'd up. That's twice in a row, the exact same spot, the rear end got flicked out. Yeah, suffice to say that John and Daz and Jay used to race in it too, yeah?
No, Jay never.
Ah, okay.
Nah, he was a smart one.
The boys had what you might call dissatisfaction with the running of the league, and so they left.
No. Yeah. I was the right way, it was just the wrong direction.
Have you seen what those Mustangs do in America? Bowl people over like bowling pins?
I don't know what's worse, the Mustangs or Corona.
Like they kill just as many people.
It's like the Grim Reaper of the automotive industry.
But we don't make that. From a Corona or a
From
Mustang?
Corona?
Well,
That's not too bad, is it, for them?
At the moment, not too bad. From what I understand.
Because, I mean, what are they up to? 600,000 or 700,000? Yeah, it didn't get...
They've already got a blooming, what's his name actually, he's got a glow around in the bottle.
Are you talking about Trump?
They just need to bleed him dry and take that and use it as vaccine.
Yeah, Trump, he's superhuman.
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting how no one ever came out and told him on what day he tested negative?
Alright, go send flying Aussie a message. He's partially racing.
Yeah, let me finish this lap here. It'll be the first lap I've actually completed if I don't screw the last 3 corners up.
Well, then I should be doing you a favour and cutting early.
Well, ordinarily I'd say yeah, but I am in purple.
Oh, you dirty bastard.
What?
You.
What?
123.2.
It wasn't a great lap, I tell you.
But
it was the first lap where I didn't get spun off the track at turn 2.
You are in a which means speed up as well.
Yeah, I confess I like this car, folks. If you're wondering which GR4 car to drive, the Porsche is generally pretty good.
Yeah, it's got heaps and heaps of pop ends too.
It's also pretty neutral considering it's regarded as rear engine, not mid engine, right?
It's far more forgiving than what would be, I think.
How are you going with the Audi there, Rob?
What'd you do? Put an anchor on it? Still not do that.
Somebody's left. The random?
The random, yeah.
Alright. Well, okay. I'm guessing...
Let's get it started, yeah.
You about to go, Joe?
Alright, about to get the race underway. It'll be the qualifying positions for the start of the race. It's a 10-lapper, is that correct, Daz? You're our ringmaster?
8-lapper.
8 lappers?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got told off because there were too many.
Well, probably some would argue 1 lap is too many, even though it's only 1.
I will fully agree with that. Trust me on that.
Hey, here we are, front row.
Small field.
Yeah. At the moment it is. It's alright.
It would appear that Dazza has a few mates in his high undies at the back there.
Why are you racing the Hyundai, Dareth? Really? It's an awful car,
Just
is it
wait
not?
and see. No. I've got it actually...
Oh, false start there, Johnny. You almost had me going too. Oh, that's a bit aggressive. That was like a rookie move, that one. That's the kind of dive bombing he does. Come on, car, turn, please. Oh boy.
Whoa! Sorry? No,
Oh, you son of a... That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Come on, twice in a row.
The only beginning of the race.
Beginning of the end.
And now you know why I went to Hyundai.
The high undies.
Yes, the high undies. It's actually a surprisingly good little car. But you gotta get the tuning right.
Well, I think like this sometimes.
No, it's actually, the thing with this car, if you get the handling down, it can actually be a really good car. And you've got to get the line.
Oh, my car! What's fucking wrong with this fucking car's brakes? This car is all over the shop here. I don't know what's going on with it. It's like it did it before in the race. It's like it's on the wrong tyres.
No, don't worry. It's only because it's Fran's women patch. I'm being nice. I'm not swearing. But being...
Ah, swearing's permitted.
Alright, it's bloody Fran's bloody hatch.
The tyres are just behaving like I'm on, I don't know, racing hards.
Get your high undies out the way.
Nope.
19 seconds behind now. It won't stop and it won't turn.
Oh dear, oh dear.
This game is shit. PlayStation, fix your fucking game.
John, get your BMW back here.
Nope, going commando. No undies around here.
You said it. Oh, boy.
I'm driving like a maniac.
Heroin bingo? I bet he does. Could you please make a mistake there, John?
I already have. So
Make 3.
Oh, you have to. You've got a penalty. followed you there, John. Yeah, what?
Fuck, 1.24.
That's right, I'm 15 seconds behind you guys.
Coming back, but like, it's interesting in the race. Oh, I hate when I get the line through there wrong.
Oh dear.
No, that was very good. Yeah, I'll do that on the 6th lap, or 8th lap, sorry. You've gone quiet there, Jay. What the hell just happened with you there, John?
What?
Your car just went like psycho.
Got it right, no. Whoa, wow. Wow.
Oh shit. Bloody hell.
Yeah, this track is.
Right, who picked this track again?
Yeah, nice answer there. Jay.
Whoever it was, you get.
Sorry, had a slide. You did. Where's that another one?
Shit.
Pull back 7 seconds, but it's not enough. People, that's what happens when you screw up on the first lap. You put yourself in a no-win situation. Hence the saying, you can't win on the first lap, but you can certainly lose.
what can I say? Dad likes to have his high undies in his face.
Looks like it's a good win for Daz.
Yeah, he comes first. Doesn't like his manhood.
I'm not the one who got beat by high undies.
We all got beat by high undies. Good win.
Yeah,
I think I need another
Thank
4
you.
laps.
Alright, you can have another 4 laps, but I'm not.
No, I don't want another 4 laps. That's bad.
I thought you had it though, John, until you bugged up about last split. Yeah. Well, I should. What did you do? Hit the ripple strip or something?
Yeah, I dropped the wheel on the glass or something.
Man, you're out of practice there, Jay.
Your wheel work alright then? Now what? Now where shall we go?
Bloody hatch.
I think we should go to Tokyo. Did someone vote for Brands Hatch again?
Yeah.
Oh, Hira Pingu voted for it too.
Oh no.
John hasn't voted yet.
Yeah,
Oh, he has now.
You suck, John. John.
Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh, Tugger's in the room too.
Yep.
We can send Tugger an invite to the chat. Do you guys know Tugger? Is he in the chat? I didn't see him. I didn't see him. Tugger's a great guy. Cheeto, that's what he calls Trump, Cheeto. Where are you, Tugger? He's a great bloke. God knows what time it is over there. I am. I will need revenge on the car, not everybody else. Where is... There he is. There you go, we're adding him.
I tell you lately.
I tell you what
suck.
there, Jazza. I'll let you have another crack at that comment.
Yeah, I need it. Let's see, what would I go? What will I go?
Oh, hi everybody, and we just finished a race. Now, you know, normally we don't broadcast us racing. We're normally talking about liveries, but we're making a bit of a break from normal warp drive and actually doing some driving. We just had a track vote, and just to annoy the room host, Daz, several what should I call them? Sadomasochistic, cruel. Don't know which word to use, but they voted to prolong Daz's torture. So we're now doing another race here at Brands Hatch. Probably soon we might jump out, we might do some livery stuff, but and we've got a couple of new liveries. John's done a few new liveries, I've done a few new liveries, so we can share those perhaps, and talk about some other things. And we might actually jump into JD Brooks' room too at some point. Oh, he went, did he?
See, yep, Tugger's all the same of it as what I do with this track.
Not again, car. What is it with going out on my first lap in that corner? It just refuses to go around it.
People in the world will call them sadomasochists. In Australia we call them mate.
That's right. Hence our show is called Warped Drive. I wonder if it's just taking a while for this car's front tyres to warm up, because they did actually go alright after like lap 3.
What did we? Hero Kingu.
Is he a bad driver?
No, he's got a bad livery.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That may not
very
be.
basic.
Maybe he's not into liveries, maybe he's just into the racing. Is he fast?
Oh, he's something. But he's in an Audi, of all things, as well. With TT.
So he must be running TC then, TCS.
Oh, he's everywhere too. As in, like, he's glitching.
Oh, really?
Yep. He needs to clean out his cage. I haven't seen that in a long time, Jay.
What car is it?
Devil Motorsport Racing.
Ah.
As in the Red Devil Camaro.
No,
God, I missed that car. Ah, Brocco's back.
Yeah,
Must have been on a dinner break, I'm guessing.
No, I went to play another game quickly.
Oh, alright. Second-hand citizens, we are.
Did you not hear me before?
No, we all of a sudden you were just gone, but there was a lot of talk going on, so...
No, my microphone must have shut itself.
Ah, okay.
I wonder why you guys weren't responding to me.
Alright, you're not on track there, Jay. Are you jumping back in, Mr.
Broccoli? Celery?
Sorry.
It's GR4 still.
Yeah, around Brand's bloody hatch. I'm still in pits.
I'm getting my daily workout car.
What'd you get?
About to find out.
Ooh.
Yes, I am. Oh, the honey
It's not a
town.
fast one. It's like a vision car.
Nice.
I got the Citroen.
Oh well.
Vision car.
Oh well.
Citroen Group 3 car.
Oh well.
Looks like that. Anyway. It is.
Jump in as quick as you can, man.
Was it for a forecaster?
Yep, yep.
I tend to always like muck around with Group 4 cars because everyone else goes Group 3s all the time.
Yeah, it's really big. It's almost as if there's no other cars in the game.
They're not bad, like there's something different to drive or whatever.
I like the GR4 cars. To me, they're more like a, I don't know, real car. They move around on the road a bit more.
I don't know, I like Group 3, Group 4.
Nah, good for you, folks.
I love Group 2. And I like Group 1. And I love SF19s.
Because of the grip bank versus the
I
I like
like
them
the
because
old
of the
Group
speed.
one.
I like the speed.
What car should I drive?
Something slower than mine, please.
Okay, fine, I'll drive that Evo.
Ah, there you go. Now you're talking.
I'll just give it a bit
I haven't seen that honey staying in a while there, right?
Jesus, God, this thing had a lot more power than I thought.
It's all about catching that rich man's D-dub, isn't it?
Well, you are in a rich man's Falcon.
What are you in, Daz?
BMW.
Ah. Hey, it's not a rich man's Falcon. You know, they're one of the few independent manufacturers that still actually have a significant founding family shareholding.
I think Ford is the only other one. There might be one more. I think Lamborghini.
No, Lamborghini owns by Audi. Audi bought Lamborghini before they bought out the Gallardo. That was their first car.
I don't know why, I just thought
Alcohol.
Alcohol.
It's not a bad drop.
Who's up with the lighting system? I've got hazard too.
Yeah, I suggest you change that. If we're doing an 80 lapper, might be a smart idea.
How many laps?
We're doing 8.
Oh, this is 80.
I said if we were doing 80, that would be a smart choice.
Shit myself.
Alright, who are we waiting on?
Probably Broccoli to change his tyres.
You know you don't have to go back out and to exit the thing to change it. You can do it just in the driving options.
Yeah.
Alright, fire warning.
Can you give me 8 seconds more before you do
No.
it?
Too late.
Oh well.
Not to worry.
I was thinking you were jumping out just as you said that too. It's like, oh no.
No, I was on purple, that's all. And I was on the last corner. So, and I actually took it pretty well, so I think I would have gained a bit of time. Just wanted to see what time I was going to do.
It is not the truck I want to be a big pack now. Somebody jumped.
I had a good start, but I had to move.
Oh no! Sorry.
Oh, you tapped me off the side.
Yeah, I know. I thought I was going to run you off the track.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's a wrong line there, John.
In my defense, I haven't actually driven this car in like 2 years. So,
What are you in?
86. The new one.
Oh, the new one. Making its debut.
Nah, I ran it earlier today.
Oh, did you? Where?
Yeah, in
Was I
that race. Yeah, in the race where everyone's wall riding and all that.
Oh, that's right, you were too. You're right. Oh, don't you dare, car. Far out. Can't believe I ran wide then.
Oh no, why are you ghosting, Jay? Oh, okay, I was thinking the worst.
Oh, fuck off.
Oh, turn your dog! Way!
Bet you're regretting choosing the track now, John.
Nah, I'm alright. I actually don't mind this, though. It's a good driver.
If only we were all good drivers.
Yeah, exactly.
I wish the ones in front of me in these blooming boards would hurry up.
I think they're doing a sterling job of keeping you back there.
Round you go.
Yep. That's my race gone.
Uh-oh.
Still catch up to me.
Whose dog's bark on the background?
And mine.
No, if I was barking, you'd hear it.
No.
You wouldn't need a headset. Somebody left.
Yeah, who was that?
Oh, shit.
Who got dropped?
Super horse. Space horse.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Wasn't anybody in the race. Just somebody coming into the room.
What I could like to do is in the race, though. Given that we were test out. At any time, like in the next lap, go right ahead. I won't complain. Everyone's gone quiet, concentrating.
Concentrating because I'm on purple. I want to do a 21. No. Stuffed at the last corner.
Why there's borders? Coming for you, John. Oh, no, I'm not. Going quite direct.
One more lap, buddy. Oh, coming up on a lap car. He does the right thing and moves out of the way and waits. Very nice of him.
John, you sloppy. Good. Right at the right place.
Excuse me. I thought you said your race was over, Daz. You're in second.
Yeah, no, I've been fighting my ass off to get here.
Could have tipped him into the wall or something, couldn't you, Jay?
He tipped himself in there. You see me, you were facing directly at me.
I don't really give a shit what the game says. It does not. This car does not make 495 horsepower.
What were you in? What were you in?
The 86.
The 86?
Yeah,
Yeah, it does, but you've got to rev the guts out of it to get it.
The most asthmatic fucking 500 horsepower I've ever experienced in my life.
Did you definitely have it tuned right?
Wow, I mean, hopefully.
Well, that was good.
You're a kingo. What's it? Thanks for the race.
Sean, did you want to show a few liveries in this broadcast or what?
Yeah, we should. Should we jump out?
I think so.
Alright. Well, guys...
You're not good enough.
No, but it's just a bit hard to do it when you guys are trying to race, so... But thanks very much for allowing us to join your room, Daz, and to do a couple of races and to broadcast them. Thanks to the other guys. The torture continues, Daz, by the look of it. Of course, with us leaving, you could call for a revote. But yeah, thank you very much, and
John, you suck.
We'll see you guys all later. Broccoli, we're in our broadcast, our weekly Warp Drive broadcast, and we're going to do what we normally do, which is to go through some of our liveries. If you want to keep racing with the guys, please enjoy it, but otherwise if you want to follow us, we'll have a different room open at Tokyo East in the Loop, so we can show the cars. Alright guys, we're going to jump out of the party and we'll create our own shortly. Cheers guys.
Have fun in your high undies there, Dezza.
Yeah, have fun in your high undies.
Guess what's gonna happen? Big Hyundai, big you though.
Alright, I'm leaving the party so I can create a new one. See you boys. Okay, people, so we're just starting a new party, and I'll grab John and invite him. Oh, he's already in. Sorry, my bad. Hi, John. I'm just going to go in and create a room now. So we'll load some settings, and we'll probably use that one probably. Load, settings loaded. I'm just going to change the title to Warp Drive.
They did a revote and they ended up at Brand's house again.
For those of you that haven't heard earlier in the broadcast, the room host of the room we were just in is Daz, or Disasterly, yeah. And he absolutely hates Branch Hatch, so as a bit of a joke to stick the needle in, the boys are forever voting for it as the track. So, yeah. Anyway, we're going to jump into our new room, and we are going to talk about some liveries. And what we'll do first is probably we'll bring out the brand new liveries to give everybody a bit of a peekaboo. And I'll turn that off. We may be joined by people, but that's okay. If they misbehave, we'll do what we normally do, and that is we will take them out of the picture. Just checking the room settings so that the room settings are correct. Ghosting none, flag rules off. For those of you setting up rooms and you want to do car shows, for example, just a quick tip here, make sure that you have no ghosting on, and make sure that your flag rules are off. As far as other settings go, look, it's up to you. I tend to not like to have any of the things turned on because it kind of eliminates people that are crazy drivers coming into the room. So yeah, and we're going to create the room and then we will kick off. It's just creating now. So we've got a few liveries to show, and we'll probably kick off with John bringing his out, and we'll have a look at his. How many new liveries did you create this week, mate?
I've only done the one so far, I think.
Oh, well, okay. Well, geez, you better pick up your act, mate. I think I did 4 or 5, but I must admit I did have a lot of time this week.
Like any of them, so.
And that's it. Well, we should talk about that because we do find in car shows, don't we, that we get a lot of people coming in and we start having conversations about creating your liveries, and we get a lot of people making comments like, I don't have time, or I don't know how to do it, or I haven't tried, or I tried and it was too hard. And you know, one of the things that we say, don't we, John, is that you've got to start. We all started at the same place, and maybe you might want to reflect a bit on your early experiences with doing liveries. Maybe.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of the liveries I did were replicas, so at least I had something to sort of chase. I had a physical goal that I could look at and aim for. I didn't just have random, just have like a clean slate and just sort of plonk random ideas onto the car. So I learned a lot of the skills I'm trying to find. For example, one of my cars I used was the Peter Jackson Falcon from the early 90s or mid 90s.
Yeah. It's an Australian V8 supercar for any of the international people watching the broadcast that aren't familiar with Australian race cars.
Yeah, so that was a good starting point because that was largely a base colour with a few stripes. So I learned how to stretch stripes and make them thinner and thicker and all this sort of stuff. Yeah. And then I just sort of progressed from there.
It's actually an excellent idea, right? Because if you think about it, one, if you're going to do a replica of a car, then a lot of the decisions are made around what livery you're going to do, but also you've got something to work off. It's kind of like, when people go to art school or painting school, they're always given subjects, whether they're outside or whether they're an object sitting on a pedestal or a desk or a bench or whatever. They're always given a subject for them to practice. And so from that perspective, it's actually not a... I think it's actually an excellent way to start. I obviously didn't take that route, but you know, as you were speaking, I was thinking, yeah, absolutely, that would make part of the challenge a lot easier because, yeah. But anything else? Anything else from the early days?
Because a lot of the cars I did were replicas, I didn't really learn a lot of the, I sort of made do with techniques I probably should have learned or could have learned had I been doing things on my own, like the depth and the bleeding and all that sort of stuff. I did a lot of duplication, whereas now I do a lot more sort of bleeding to reduce the number of decals and all that sort of bits and pieces. The one I noticed was a lot of the cars that I did in the sort of early to mid 90s were actually the easiest to do. They had minimal sponsorship, the designs were quite simple.
They're what we'd call cleaner designs, yeah?
Yeah. So a lot of the cars from the Australian touring cars were quite often they were sponsored by tobacco, and a lot of the contracts were that the cars were decked out in the entire car, and they couldn't really have any other sponsorship around. So apart from your very basic stuff, which was Bridgestone and all that sort of tyre companies and fuel companies, which had very simple, you know, decals that you just sort of smack onto the car, but the actual layout of the car was very simple, very clean.
I get the feeling I might have to remove some people if they get in the way.
Yeah. Paul Walker has to go.
Yes, I'm immediately suspicious of somebody rocking around in a Paul Walker car. So we're looking at your car now, and we're looking at it. It's a Toyota 86. It's a Group 4. Tell us a bit more about the delivery.
So basically, this was something that I whipped up today. It's largely based on a class of racing in Australia called improved production, which are effectively what touring car racing was in the sort of 70s and 80s. So you get your base road car, you strip it out, you put racing suspension and tyres and all that sort of stuff on it, and you race it, at least visually, how it looked on the road. This car was based on a driver called Chris Brown, who races an AE 86, an original one, like your initial D type car. The design is largely on this particular car.
Okay, there you go. It's a great combination. I think that guy's going to have to go.
Yep.
But it's a great Commando or something. It's a great colour combination, the fluoro green and the blue. You know, we talked before in previous broadcasts about you know, our scale of difficulty for attempting liveries for those that are you know, trying to get into the space of creating liveries. Where would you place this car in terms of its degree of difficulty out of 5? Hopefully you remember the scale. It's only been a week, so.
I think it was out of 10, wasn't it?
No, we had 5 for the actual car to do a livery on, and 5 for the yeah, wasn't it? Or was it 10? No, you're right. It was 10. Sorry, my bad. Out of 10, yeah. You're right.
The car is actually really easy to do a livery on.
Yeah, I'm just going to drive around while you talk, so keep talking. Get a good look at it.
I'm in the middle of the track. The car itself is actually really easy to do the livery on. It's got nice black paneling on the car. There's not a lot of sort of winglets on the front of the car like your Super Formula thing and Group 3 cars and blah blah blah. The hardest part of this car was probably the colour matching, because I've actually used the paint to paint the rear wing and the mirrors, but I've had to colour match the decals up the side and on the roof and on the bonnet. And the rest of it is just lines and stretching and manipulating.
Alright, so as a car to do a livery on, what score would we give it?
Difficulty would be about 3 out of 10.
Alright, so that definitely puts it into the beginner class. And in terms of the livery or the techniques that you've used to do the livery, where would we sit that?
Probably about probably about a 4.
Alright, so that gives it a score of 3.5 basically.
Because it's more to do with the colour matching. The colour matching was the bit that makes it difficult, or brings it up, I reckon.
Alright, cool bananas. Alright, now, one of the things we didn't do last week is we skipped all your alphas, so why don't you go grab a couple, or one of your alphas, and we'll go through a couple of those liveries as well.
Alright.
And I'll just wait here. Of course, I've picked my brand new SF19 as the car to drive around you with. I should probably jump out of it and jump in a car that's got a much tighter turning circle, so that I can go around your car much more easily than this thing. This is a brand new livery. We'll talk more about it a bit after, but for now I'm going to jump out of it and jump into a car that I know can turn on a dime. In fact, I'm not going to go there. I'll get a Fiat, I think, even better. Of course, it's not a fast car, but it's perfect for driving around to look at cars. We've left the room open for those of you watching, rather than close it off, because, you know, we thought if people saw the broadcast and wanted to join in the room and participate in some way without being, I guess, obtrusive, we wanted that to happen. So provided the people that are in the room now don't interfere or disrupt us too much, we should be able to run this program this way repeatedly. That's the plan. As we said in the very first broadcast, we'd be mucking around with the best way to show the liveries, to showcase the cars, to talk about the cars, so that you would get a good look at them. And we think this is the best way to do it. Somebody next to me, McLaren. SKJ. He's a guy that joins us in a lot of car shows. And here we are. Look at this baby. It's an Ignis Alfa Romeo, what is it, Group 3 Group 4, okay.
Another Group 4, yep.
GR4, okay. Tell us a bit about it.
This is one of my early ones. Back in 2018, I think I did it. It's actually Colin Bond's Alpha GT-V6 from 1985.
And
another Australian touring car.
Yeah, Colin Bond was a fairly prominent Australian racing car driver in the, well, I guess he was 70s and 80s. Did he get to the 90s?
Yeah, he got into the 90s. He raced the Sierras into the 90s.
He also had a bit of an international career too, didn't he? Or am I mistaking him for somebody else, maybe?
I can't remember him being international. He definitely had a rally. He was originally a rally driver.
Ah, that's it. Yeah, sorry.
And Colin Firth, who was at the time in the late 60s, had an eye on him.
Yep.
And introduced him to the Holden dealer team.
Yep.
But as time, that was in the late 60s, early 70s. He was Holden's boy.
Yep.
Before Brocky.
Yep.
And during the years of Group A, he got a contract with Alfa Romeo and raced this Alfa, well, what is meant to be an Alfa GT-V6. So it was what they call a Class B car, so it actually ran a smaller engine, all those sort of bits and pieces.
Yep.
This is the tribute, homage, what do you want to call it, on that car.
And certainly again, when we talk about livery design, a lot of it comes down to picking a colour that suits the car. Now with this one, is this again the colour of his original car, or
yes.
You've just, okay, so that's the colour. All right, so it's
it's about as close as you can get it within the limitations of the game.
Yeah, picture/period perfect is what we term it, don't we? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
But this one is actually the 85 model, and for those who are keen followers of the 80s, people will know it's the 85 because in 86 he ran number 75.
Okay.
because he was actually as homologation processes progressed throughout the years, he was actually going to be given the Alpha 75, which was a turbocharged box, basically, in a different car. It was meant to be more competitive, but never came out that way.
And again, this livery is we talked a bit earlier about what we regard as clean or cleaner liveries, and
So this is a classic case of one sponsor dealt with the whole car.
Yeah. All right. Which, of course, is there anything else you want to share about the car?
It's an arsehole to drive. And it's the tune. So, but as far as doing liveries on, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
It's probably a bit more difficult than the 86, though, I'd imagine.
Yeah. All right. So, as a car to do, what do we score it on the livery car to do a livery on scale?
I'd probably step it up a notch. That black stripe on the bonnet is a real pain.
Yeah.
Because the way it skews over, going around the curvature of the guards and stuff.
So I'll just come back around the front so we can see that a bit better. Because of the contour of the car, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see there on the side how it tapers off. Yeah. Yep, all right. So what do you think? We'll call it the doable index, or index, as far as the car, doing a livery on the car goes. So we're going to give it a 4, a 5, a 6?
Difficulty on the car will be a 5.
Okay.
But the actual design of it's probably another 3 or 4.
Alright, so that'll give us a 4.5, which is again still in that beginner class. So again,
like I said, this is one of the first ones I did, or one of the very early ones I did.
Yep. Alright, very good. Alright, you want to go and jump in another one? I'm going to stay here now. I've got this car. This is perfect. It's got a great tight turning circle. And we'll wait for him to bring another Alfa Romeo out. I saw one of our friends that joined us, Shadow. He's a fellow member of the Down Under group that we race with, and also likes to do the odd livery. But I can't see him with a car on them. There's a couple of other guys in the room that I've been in car shows with. SKJ is one of them. So g'day mate, thanks for jumping into the room. We are in the middle of doing our Warp Drive YouTube broadcast. So Commander, if you're watching it, my suggestion is perhaps you need to leave the room, because this isn't the kind of room for you. Anyway, alright, so we're looking at another Alpha, another Group 4, yeah John?
Another Group 4, yep.
Yeah.
So I continue with the Columbine theme. This is the Alpha 75 design.
Okay. Of course, number 75, there you go. Very striking colour combination.
Yeah, so the car was actually painted red and then black decal over the top.
Okay.
So at least that's what I think I did. It was a while ago when I did it.
Yep.
This is the Alpha 75 that he was meant to, that he did race. He was meant to be competitive in it, but never really got there. He had troubles with turbocharging, as a lot of the guys did.
Trying to eat too much power out of it, perhaps?
To be honest, I think he was promised a lot of funding and he didn't get it, and the car just wasn't as competitive as what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And by the time 1988 came, DJR got their Sierras hooking up really well.
Yeah.
And they blew the competition away.
Yeah. So the livery itself is pretty much as per the car. Would I be right in saying perhaps the variation might be the wheels? They're perhaps as close as you could get, but
I think it's meant to have the BBS.
I mean, they look great. Don't get me wrong. They look fantastic on the car.
I'm fairly certain it's meant to have the BBS meshy wheels like I had on the yellow one.
Okay.
I can't remember now.
Yeah, fair enough.
Anyway, I've got it as close as I could within the limits of the game.
Yeah, okay. Alright, so doable index score?
I reckon this one was probably a little bit easier, actually. The only real difficult thing was the striping on the bonnet, which really isn't all that difficult at all.
Just on the corner there with the light. Yeah.
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 So,
Well, give it a score, mate. It's in your hands. You're the
well,
scorer's hands, as they say.
what did we say for the yellow one in terms of difficulty?
We gave it a 3, I think.
4,
Oh, the Ignis one. Sorry.
Yeah.
The Ignis one, you said 5 as a. So that probably, I guess it's the same car, so that remains the same, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and this was probably, I don't know, 3.5 because there's fewer decals on it.
All right, so that gives it basically a 4.25 again in the beginner class. So it's great that for those people watching that are thinking about livery design and do I have a crack, do I not have a crack, you know, with a relative ease, you can end up with something that really does look that striking, and it, you know, certainly was striking. I'm going to just jump into the pits to rid ourselves of a couple of undesirables that keep causing issues while John changes car. You know, again, try to be informative. Sometimes you get people that come into your room that cause trouble. You do have the capability for the host to deal with them, and that's exactly what I just did then. And now I will jump back in my little Fiat, which is certainly not the fastest car in the game. In fact, I think it might be the slowest, but it's a perfect car for what we're doing today in Warp Drive. So John, I'm on my way back up there. You're probably already up there. You want to start telling us about the car even though we can't see it?
Yeah, so I've got the old, don't really know what this Alpha is. Actually, it's the $20 million one they have in the game.
The old Alfa Romeo 4, is it the 440 or something? Something like that.
I can't remember. Anyway, it's the old Alpha one they've got in the game. It's bloody expensive to buy. The livery I put on it is actually based on the 155 DTM. The very square looking ones.
Yep,
one's actually been in the previous versions of the game.
Yep. So DTM is the German touring car.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so that was it's been in the last sort of 4 or 5 variations of the game, or sequels of the game.
Yep.
Quite a desirable car and sort of well-known, famous sort of car, particularly in Europe.
It's an interesting car in that they've obviously, you know, mimicked the Ferrari 250 GTO in certainly if you look at the front end and if you look at the side profile until you get to that rear glass. That rear glass is really what changes the profile. Even the rear end of it is very similar to the 250 GTO, but with that slight change to allow for that excuse me, for that glass.
Well, I mean, both cars were built by similar people, i.e. they're both Italian companies, both built in the 60s, both built with racing purpose in mind, i.e. just to build a homologation to get into motor racing.
Yeah.
So you will expect different, very similar sort of structure.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
But this was a bit of a pain in the ass, this car actually.
Yeah. All right. So the fact that this car is a $20 million car brings up another topic to quickly talk about, and that is choosing cars in the game. So you're a player, and you happen to have reached the point where you've decided you want to buy one of the more expensive or exclusive cars, or revered cars is probably the word I'm looking for. And you got your $20 million. Now I think you've got this and a number of other $20 million cars. I think. How would you rate this if you had to spend your $20 million? Would you spend it again on this car rather than on perhaps one of the other $20 million cars?
No, not yet.
Alright, share with us why that is.
Oh, look, it is a good car, and the only reason why, to me, was like, because of the price tag. It sort of puts in a little bit of a rarity, because not many people would actually save up for the money.
Yeah.
Or save up for the car. It just still lacks a bit of power, in my opinion. I mean, it's got plenty of speed, and it sounds nice, it looks nice, it does all the right things, but...
Handles okay?
Yeah, look, it handles alright, but you got to remember it's not a modern race car, so you got to be careful. You got to be wary that it's not a modern race car. So there's, I think we did the we showed the Sterling Moss Aston Martin, whatever it was, Le Mans Aston Martin. I'd get that in a heartbeat more than this one.
Yep, sure.
But, it's not disappointing, it's just not that exciting.
Yeah. Alright. Cool. Alright, so then we come to the indexes. As a the doable index, as a car to do a livery on, how do you score it?
Probably a 7.
So a bit trickier?
The bonnet's a pain.
Yeah. And now, when you say the bonnet's a pain, let's talk about that, because I suspect when we say the bonnet, even though when we look at this car, we see a front guard either side. Am I right in saying that that guard is actually the bonnet? It's all a one piece, is it? Looks like it is.
I think so, yeah. You just got to be very, very careful as to what decal you need to put on it, and where you angle the camera to position so it doesn't stretch over and skew over and all that sort of stuff. You just got to be very, very careful and very particular.
Yeah, well, I think the thing is that for people not familiar with doing the liveries, when you're doing the bonnet, the game's, if you like, point of reference for you is viewing it from above. And so if you look at the front of it, is that Segafredo logo I'm seeing at the front there? Or Selena. That Selena logo right there, right next to the headlight, the 3 logos. When John was placing those logos, he had 2 options. He could do it just the basic way, which means he was looking helicopter view down and trying to position them. The other option is you use what's called a line with camera, and you can kind of manipulate your angle to get them in the right place. But either way, it's still not a simple process to do. So that's what John's talking about when he says the bonnet was hard. Alrighty, so 7 we say for the index. Now the livery itself, what sort of score would you give the techniques and tricks to do this one?
Wasn't really a lot of the decals are actually hard to find, first of all.
Yeah.
And because of the curvature of the body, they're very difficult to sort of place, try and get them to match.
Yeah.
Replicate the car we're trying to replicate, but also try and do it on a car that's 40 years older or 30 years older than the car we're trying to replicate.
Yeah, of
so
course.
try and get the decals to appear the way they're supposed to appear. It's tricky, so I'd probably give it a 6 or a 7, because it's multiple pieces. It's not one decal. So you've got to make sure that they line up properly and they're not sort of one's higher than the other or too close or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, alright, so that gives it a score of 14, which 7, so that basically just puts it at the top end of the intermediate, almost into the advanced. And look, while we're talking about decals, one of the things that we never will do enough is give a shout out to all the decal makers. And if you want to go jump into another car, John, I'll keep talking about this. You know, the number of decal makers that are out there that create these decals for other people. You know, they really do have our utmost respect and our gratitude, because without them we certainly wouldn't be able to make the liveries that we make. So for all of those decal makers out there, we salute you, and we thank you very much, and we really are in awe of some of the work that you guys do. Now I'm going to do a bit of housekeeping, because there's a few people that are in the room that frankly are just causing dramas. and so they'll be removed.
Yeah, I'm in BMW now, and I've got
Okay.
quite a few. So do you want me to go through them all, or I've got about...
Yeah,
let's...
let's do that. That's the whole plan.
Well,
So I think I've just gotten rid of a couple of people that were causing drama. Hopefully that's all of them. I'll just double check. Is there anybody else? Rookie, you know better than that. We're trying to do a broadcast. I think that person there is probably going to be a pain, so I'll preemptively get rid of that person. You know, we don't mind you coming in here and showing your cars during our broadcast, but oh shit, yep, not good, got rid of the right guy. Alright, I'll head back out. So you've jumped in a BMW, you said?
Yep.
You want to start telling us about it while I make my way back up to the what we call the car show area, or car show marshalling area?
So basically the car I'm in is a BMW Group 4 M4.
Nice.
Largely because it looks a lot like a Commodore.
Yep.
The delivery I've done is actually a privateer from the VP days.
Yep, and a Commodore, for those of you outside of Australia, has been the staple Australian sedan for the last 20, almost 30 years, yeah? Away, more than 30 years.
More than that,
Yeah.
1978, late 78.
Yeah, so 22, 40, 42 years. Yeah, of course, they're no longer made. The factory officially shut down last year, I think.
Very, very affordable, robust family saloon.
So,
So this one was based on 1993, a chap called Bob Jones, who was a privateer.
yep.
And again, this is a very early one I've done, so I was limited with decals and technique.
Yep.
So this is actually the endurance racing version. Originally, his Ampult Max 3 car was actually all black,
Okay.
not white and multicoloured on the side.
Yep.
But the endurance car looks nicer with the white and the colouring on the side. So
Absolutely.
Purely because no one else has done it, and at the time when I was doing these liveries, I wanted to bring out the liveries that people have sort of forgotten or don't immediately remember. Everyone remembers like your Marlboro cars and all that sort of stuff, but I want to bring out the rare stuff. People don't really remember straight away.
And I think also, you know, everybody likes to flock and applaud and focus on the winners, you know, the ones at the top of the field, but the reality is that the sport isn't a sport without all the also-rans, and whilst they might not get the accolades, they're certainly putting in the same level of effort to get there and be there and to race. So I think it's great that you know, you are bringing these cars out of the dark, if I can use that term, so that everybody can learn a bit about you know, all the other cars that ran, not just the ones that took the podiums or took the championships or won Bathurst, you know, because obviously there's a million stories behind every race car, not just the ones that have all the glory. So this was a Commodore. So which model of Commodore was it for the Australian watchers?
The VP.
A VP. Yep.
It was the first of your sort of V8 supercar spec with the big wings and all that sort of stuff.
Yep. Okay. Very good.
I actually believe it's an XHRT car.
Okay.
I think. I'd have to double check on that one.
Alrighty. Anything else? Yep.
This is the livery that actually taught me my first trick, believe it or not.
Oh, well, you want to share what that trick was?
Yeah, so basically if you look on the fading of the colours, where the red and blue are sort of merging in together.
Yep, we're looking right at it now.
I get a bit of a purple.
Yep.
That was actually the first trick I learned to try and get different colours using different decals. So I've actually used instead of using the solid block line,
Yep.
I end up using the faded, sort of like the faded line.
Yep.
Copied it, changed its colour, and then moved it across, and then learnt I got the colours were actually mixing together. Like they were actually mixing like you would normal, you know, mixing normal paint.
Yeah.
And get a different colour. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Very good. Alright, so if that's all we have to talk about for the car, we talk about the doable index.
Being a Group 4 car, it's quite fun to do. So probably again 3 or 4
Okay,
in
great.
terms of its complexity.
Yep.
I'd
Now,
probably
talking
give
about
the-
bleeding, I just noticed something on the rear end which you may not be aware of, and you said it was an early livery. So at the back of the car, at the top of the boot lid, I didn't notice what's on your rear spoiler, but there's certainly some kind of bleed going on the top of the boot. So when we talk about a bleed, what we're talking about is where you've added a decal of a certain colour or style,
I see what you
and it's moved over to another part of the surface. It might be that it's a corner or it's an edge or whatever, and it's what we call a bleed of that colour or that decal, and you can correct them. It's quite an easy thing to do in most cases to correct them. I'm just trying to work out what that bleed is from, because I can't see if there's anything on the spoiler that gives it away.
I probably didn't even realise it was there.
No, well, again, this was what you said in earlier livery, so again, it's one of those things we discover. I can't see it there, but what I think it... no, I can't work out where that's bleeding from, because I can't see... Oh yeah, looks like you do have a decal on the spoiler, yeah?
I do. I've got a single Bridgestone.
Yeah, I think it might be that. Anyway, it's easy to fix. We can remember that car when we're doing a bit of a talk around fixing that stuff. We'll bring that car out and fix it. Alright, so very doable livery. I think we gave the 86 a 4, so you give that a doable score of 4 as well?
Yeah. So
Yep.
it's got a nice flat panel, a little bit of curvature, but nothing really out of the ordinary.
Okay, and the livery itself?
Well, that one was a little bit tricky because I had to do it all by hand. That's the other thing too. If you try and, particularly in the early days, if you actually try and do a delivery that no one else has done, the chances are that the decals that you need have also not been done.
Yeah.
You've got to do it yourself.
Yep.
So making little logos and emblems and things like that, you've got to do yourself. So that was a little bit tricky, but all done within the GT library editor.
Yep.
Library.
While we're waiting for John, we must have a quick bo peep at Rookie's car. Rookie's a friend of ours, as we already mentioned, and right on cue he drives away from me. Aston Martin looks like a Group 3, and Rookie definitely is a Group 3 guy. It's probably his favourite class of car. I don't know if that's a particular livery. I know he's watching the broadcast, so maybe
Just give me a
Shadow.
sec. I'll go and grab a drink in that.
No problem. While you're doing that, we'll talk a bit about Rookie's car. Obviously it's an Aston Martin. I'm guessing it's the V12 Vantage. Rookie's about to chat and say something, but I'm most curious to know whether it's an actual race car livery. Yeah, I'm presuming you made it. Is it a replica or an original? Can you tell us that? He's just chatting on the message within the room, just there to the left. If it is a race car, it's not a livery I'm familiar with, but then again, I'm not great when it comes to knowing lots of race car liveries. I thought we did send you an invite. You should just be able to find the room, Rookie. Bear with me. Just going to send him a party invite so he can join the chat. Make it a lot easier than him typing. Add players, and we want Rookie. Where is Rookie? For some reason he's not at the top. There he is. Add. Alright, that gets us back on a talking level. Get that off the screen. And Rookie should now be joining the party, so welcome Shadow.
Hello.
Welcome to the broadcast. Well, we were just curious while waiting for John to bring out his next livery.
Yeah, all good. So you want to know my livery?
Well, firstly, is it a race car livery or is it your own creation?
It's my own creation, but as you
Okay.
can see on the sponsors, it's their actual. If you go on the stock livery on the Aston Martin that I'm in, it's pretty much where I've put them to the best of my ability. So all the fuck, who's messaging me? So Jordan's having a temper tantrum. Sorry. So as you can see, since you're circling me, the elf is where it's dead on meant to be, and etc. etc.
Okay. So you've taken
And,
elements of the factory race car
yes, but
livery, and then you've done your own little bit of your own iteration of it.
Now I only just the white and the blue. If you saw my Lexus before, the GT3 with all the colours, and I said those were cubes, technically the same thing.
Okay.
Now, you passed it. Now, if you stop on my left in the daylight, you will see. Just stop there. If you look at the white, you will see a grey.
Yep.
You see the grey and the white?
Yep.
That is pretty much a cube.
Right.
I've just these cubes are very hard to do because they're actually triangles in a cube shape, right? This took me 4 hours.
So like a rhombus.
Yeah. Not really a rhombus. It's mainly a square. But the blue and the white literally took me 4 hours. So 2 hours equal.
And what we do in our broadcasts, if you, because I know you've watched one or two of them before, is we've
no, this is actually my first
is it?
one.
I thought you jumped into another one. Okay, I apologise.
No, I did watch your Porsche, but only for a brief second.
But yeah, so what we have is we give each livery a score. We score the car in terms of how doable the car is for a livery. So is it a tricky car to do a livery on? And then we give it a score for the livery itself in terms of the techniques or what you had to do, finding the decals, whatever it might be. So again, you've got a multiple colour fade or colour transition, depending which term people are comfortable with. So that straight away makes it a bit trickier. You've also got those, if you like, the air duct behind the front wheel. That's also a very tricky thing to deal with when you're doing a livery.
Easy, actually.
Well, generally speaking, they are hard depending on what you're doing, so that would make it a bit trickier. So that's probably an intermediate livery. It's certainly not a beginner one, that's for sure. Yeah. Very good. I was going to talk about SKJ's Mercedes, but I think he's left.
Yeah, it's just us two.
And John's just getting a drink. He'll be back in a second.
Yeah, it was kind of a rush design, sort of. I was actually trying to go and make the BMW multiple colour one, if you know that one. It's also on the Aston Martin Golf.
Okay.
Try to make that, but that would literally take me 10 hours to do. So, because I would need the cubes. I'm actually going to bring my Shadow Racing car out, and yes, I did watch your stream, and my favourite car is the GT3.
Yes.
So that answers your question.
So you mentioned JD, and obviously both John and I and yourself are members of JD's Down Under group. I presume he's got a room running at the moment somewhere.
Yes, at Nürburgring. Yeah. The reason with this is that I've got Shadow Racing, and that's been going since 2019, not 2018. We had a booth and barge. I didn't even read the contract because I can't be fucked reading contracts, as you know me pretty well. And then he's just said, the reason I said that is because in order to cover your own ass when we merge, well, that's not typically the case, because half of his, I hope he's listening to this stream actually, the reason why I'm saying this is because half of his sponsors from him, which is technically all of his sponsors besides YouTube. So yeah, I won't go into it. And then his last two is, so if shit goes wrong, you still got your team, which makes no sense because I don't give a fuck. Fine, fuck it, leave. Your contract has been terminated. Like I give a flying fuck. Now, if you stay on the left or the right, you can see what I mean by the cubes. Where it's got the samurai, that's actually just a decal, a random decal. This is actually V8 RS, the number 4.
Right.
So since I'm terminated from the contract of Down Under Racing, I can finally race this car.
Right.
But in the number 6.
Right.
So, I technically, if you look to the slight right, if you go in closer actually, you'll see a Oz GT Championship, so decal. It's just to the right of the samurai. Pardon me.
Just to the right, sort of in between the wheel arch and the rear window.
It's between the BC Racing and the Samurai, dude.
Yep.
Yeah. And if you can see on the top of the window, it's actually V8 RS.
Got his name up the top there. I think we've mentioned V8s RS in previous broadcasts. It's another friend of ours. And yeah, maybe perhaps one time he might come to the broadcast. I thought he may be on tonight, but maybe he's busy doing other things.
I'm back.
Welcome back, John. So we're just filling in some time here talking about rookies. Lexus and his Aston Martin.
Yeah, JON-NIC, if he's here and just came back, I'm not a part of DUI anymore, which is good.
Part of what?
Down Under Racing.
Why not?
Oh, because Mr. JD spat the dummy. So now, if you're looking at the strain, this is the car I'll be racing now. It's a V8 RS's livery, but the number 4 one, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Things move fast. Things move fast in the online world, John.
Tell me about it.
Anyway, we hope that whatever happens, it works out for the best. Okay, so John has joined us with one of my favourites in his garage. Both John and I have done a Cadbury liveries, but this is one of my favourites that John has done.
I'll bring my I don't know what John has, but I'll bring one of mine out.
Rightio.
I know it's a Beamer, but still. In
the meantime, yeah, well, we're going through John's liveries alphabetically, so we're under the BMWs now. What can you tell us about this beautiful little E30, John?
It's actually my own design. It's not a replica or anything like that. For some reason, I had the vision of having the splashing of the colour on one corner and try and get rid of symmetry.
Yep.
And I was trying to work out what colour scheme to use and what sponsorship that would use to sort of blend that in. And Cadbury was the perfect choice. So,
the old glass and a half splashed all over the front left quarter.
Yep.
Alright, anything else you can tell us about the car?
Well, I mean, the car itself as in history or just in the game?
Well, yeah, either or.
Well, I mean, in the game, it's just an ordinary road car. It goes really well. Yeah, I've done a team car of this livery, so that all I've done is really just reverse the.
Can I join? I love chocolate.
You can join if you wish.
Yay!
Yeah, come back at Easter. We'll be popular then.
Cadbury Industries. I don't know.
Yeah, so yeah, I made a predominantly white car with the purple splashing on it, and
I'm not gonna lie, that white splash on your car looks like it's just been splashed with milk.
Well, that was sort of the impression. It's a glass and a half of milk.
Yeah,
looks awesome. Yes, your main sponsor's Cadbury, but I just realised on your front fender to the left you got Schweppes.
Yeah, well,
Cadbury
Cadbury Schweppes. That's the company, Cadbury Schweppes.
I just saw your livery sport.
All right, Johnny. So back to you. Sorry, sorry, rookie. So, what else can you tell us about the car? Anything else, John?
Yeah, not really. It's just, like I said, it was purely my design. It was just an image I had in my head. The splashing of the fender and the bonnet, that was just a technique I was trying to do, and it worked out quite well.
All right, so let's talk about that, because obviously we are talking about techniques.
Speed is a state of mind.
Tell us about that splash technique. How did you achieve it?
So basically, it's there's a series of decals in the GT editor.
Yep.
So it's got like sort of random blotches, I suppose is a good term.
Yep.
And I just sort of randomly plonked them onto the car to give it a sort of random effect.
Yep.
The other thing you've got to be careful is when you're going from bonnet to guard.
Yeah.
You got to make sure that the lines match up somehow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with the blotching and trying to make it look random, you can get away with it trying to be pedantic.
Yep.
As long as the lines match up, it doesn't really matter. So.
But definitely, it achieves the look. That's for sure. All right, so that of course brings us to the index. So, as a car, what do we give it as a doable car for a livery?
Probably a 3. One thing I'd be wary of is the grille is paintable, so you've got to make sure you add that into your car, into your colour scheme.
All right. So
but other than that, the car is nice and the car's nice and flat. The guards don't protrude over the top, or the bonnet doesn't go over the guard. They're separate pieces and they end right in the corner.
Yep.
It's just a nice, easy car to work on.
All right, and then in terms of the livery and the techniques and the decals, what can we score? Oh, you didn't give me a score, so you said 3, right? So that's the car itself.
Between 3 and 4.
All right, so definitely beginner territory.
Yeah.
All right, very good. All right, go jump in another one for us.
I'll do that.
And while you're doing that, we'll just spin around a bit. I think Rookie's doing some circuit work, or circle work as we call it, in his E30 touring car livery.
DTM inspired.
Very good. Very good. We might.
There you go, good close up for you.
Yeah, we might try and integrate some of.
I've actually got the wrong number.
That's okay. That's
number
okay.
46.
What we'll do is we'll try to integrate maybe some of Rookie's liveries in some of the broadcasts we do. Yeah, it's a very
I'll
nice
show you
looking
a livery that I actually did, and it's a Laguna Seca winner. If I can find it. It is a BMW. Well, inspired. It's 1970 something that it won the Laguna Seca BMW.
Rightio. Well, while you're looking, John's brought back out his BMW, so we're going to talk to him about that. So, John, this is another very good-looking E30 M3 by BMW. Tell us about it.
So this was actually a replica as well. Back in 1987 when the world had the World Touring Car Championship. So this was Group A formula. The same sort of Group A formula that Colin Bond was in with the Alphas.
Yep.
So what was happening is that the world was trying to have like a uniform set of rules and regulations based on production cars.
Yep.
So we could all compete against each other around the globe.
Yeah.
The same sort of rules.
Cool.
That was the concept. Didn't really work out that way. This is one of the cars that was quite competitive, and it was driven by a chap by the name of Johnny Cicotto, and I can't remember who the other chap was actually.
Wouldn't have been a guy called Mark Petch, would it?
No,
The car's got Mark Petch seals all over it.
No, so Mark Petch is actually I believe he's a New Zealander businessman.
Okay, yeah.
He was one of the main sponsors, and I believe the car owner for the Volvo team in the mid-80s.
Okay.
Mark Petch made a deal with this particular team, who are sort of part BMW Works formulated.
Yep.
Yeah, and they did reasonably well, although they did crash at Bathurst in '87. They put the car into the wall and smash out the suspension and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Well, of course, at the time too, to talk about the international category, as it were, no surprises that manufacturers making different cars for different markets obviously couldn't all get their heads around a uniformity or a consistent approach. But I mean, obviously, lately around the world, we seem to have achieved a more cooperative sort of arrangement. Certainly with the
technology has made that improvement a fair bit. Things like the internet and emails and all that sort of stuff, and just general free and instant worldwide connectivity.
Yeah.
Back then, it was all international phone calls and faxes.
Yeah.
And flights to the countries.
Yeah. All right. So we already know it's a 3 as a car to do a livery on. Where do we score this particular livery?
Probably a 4-ish, I dare say.
Okay.
I probably went about the easy way out. In the sense that I actually decaled the car. That's the other thing too. With some of the early cars I've done, particularly ones that are white, I've painted the car white.
Yep.
But if you put a decal over, if you put a white decal over the top, it's a different shade of white.
Yep.
So it will stand out. You can't just simply patch it up and it'll be the same colour.
Yeah.
So with this one, I've actually decaled the car white, put in the blue stripes, and then put in the white stripes over the top of that.
Right.
To get the squares.
Yep. Okay.
So I've gone the easy way out on that one, which simplifies it much more.
Yeah. Well, it just gives you a bit of leverage, doesn't it? To if it is tricky or if you do happen to make a mistake, the way you've done it allows you to correct that mistake much easier than an original paint. Okay, alright, so again a beginner one, so we're seeing quite a lot of beginning ones, which is good for people out there wanting to get their hand into doing livery creation in the game. Alright.
Well, a lot of these cars were early in the track for me, so and I'm not one for hugely flamboyant, complicated liveries. I like very simple stuff.
We'll have a quick look at Rookie's car. We'll just drive around and have a quick squeeze. I'll wait for you to bring the next one out. Obviously an M3 GT.
Yep, retro inspired this car from, I don't know the name of the driver that won it, but it's retro inspired Laguna Seca 1975 BMW 3-litre CSL Group 5 car.
I'm going to take a stab and say that the drivers were by the name of Peterson and Redmond, because that's what's on the side of the car. I don't know them as drivers. But...
shit, that's their actual last names. Sorry, I forgot. Yeah, that's their last names. I didn't realise I put that on there just now.
There you go. Glad to be of service.
Yeah, you learn something every day, but yeah.
That's right.
This car won the 1975 Laguna Seca. They've actually got the BMW VGT. If you look up Supercar Blondie, they've got the retro inspired that on that car as well.
Alright,
and
very
speaking of BMWs, JON-NIC, I know that livery. That is the LMP1 livery.
Very good. Very good.
I know that livery anyway.
Rookie gets a cookie. It's exactly what it is. So, Johnny, tell us a bit about this livery, because it is not a recent one, right? You've had it for a while.
This one's more recent, but that's pretty much all I need to say because you just explained it all.
So it's off the McLaren. It's off the McLaren F1, BMW powered car, right?
I think it is. This is the. I'm just trying to get some details on it now because I don't know much about it.
Or is it the LM car? Sorry, maybe it's the LM BMW LM car, right?
Yes, it is.
The LMR 99 model.
Yes. Yep.
There was the open top LMP.
Not the F1. My bad. Tricking people.
So.
No, the F1 came in '98. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, 97 thereabouts.
90, yeah, one off. That's the thinner one, isn't it?
Hmm?
That's the thinner. Oh, sorry. That's the thinner one, isn't it?
FINA, Federation International.
FINA, yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, whatever it's called. Yeah.
No, it's Dell.
No, the F1 we're talking about. McLaren F1.
Oh, I believe so. Yeah. Look, to be honest, I don't know much about the car, but I do remember enjoy driving it in Gran Turismo 6. That was quite a competitive car. It was just a little bit unique, and from what I understand, no one else had done the livery, so I thought I'd have a crack at it.
Okay.
No, there's been a few liveries, John, but they've just got the wrong numbers on it.
Oh, well.
They've got like number 12, 42, 78, which was weird, because they never run any of those numbers.
All right. Okay. So, as a car, it looks. You know, if you look at the shapes, straight away, there's certainly going to be some tricky parts to navigate. So, as a doable car,
it's doable, but you need a bit of practice first.
Yeah.
I would dare say it's around at the 5 or 6
With the lines and everything, yeah.
Well, it's more the pumped out flare guards, the little winglets on the front bumper bar. You've got to be sure of
the bonnet
the
scoops.
side.
They're very tricky.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I actually think you're being, very generous by saying it's only a 5. I would kind of say it's a 6 or a 7 as a car. I've done myself. I've done about 8 or 9 M6s, and every time there is sections of the car that are very finicky to do. The bonnet is one of them.
Fortunately, with this one, it didn't have to sort of negotiate around the flare guards or anything like that. It was primarily the nostrils on the bonnet. I had to get those lines that curve the way they're supposed to. That was tricky.
All right, well, give us a score.
I'd probably give it a 5 or 6, primarily because of the front end.
Yeah.
The front end was a real pain.
Yeah. All right. And the livery itself to do?
Yeah, it's the livery.
Oh, okay, sorry. So a 6 on that, and I think really this car's a 6 or a 7. It's not.
You're joking. 10 out of 10.
No, we're not talking. Okay, Rookie. So for your information, the indexes that we're talking about is not how nice the livery is. We're actually talking about how the car itself, the degree of difficulty to use the car to do a livery, and then the livery. Hang on, can I finish? And to actually create the livery, how tricky is it to create it? Because what we're doing is we're going through these liveries and sharing for people that are perhaps not familiar with doing liveries, what's involved in doing them and how hard it is or how easy it is. So that's our score that we're giving, is not whether we like the livery or not. It's about doing the livery. So.
Get your little speed feed out of here. Hello. Don't worry about my car, it's Jet Johnson's car.
Righto. Yeah, well, we're trying to focus on, John's, because we're continuing our series of going through our garage and our.
Hang on, I know a car John will like. Hang on. He knows very well what it will be. And the devil's joined the room. No. I'm kidding.
Okay,
No,
John, so you've got the Z4 M out. Tell us a bit about this car, which is obviously very, very striking.
This is one of the more difficult ones, but it is it's largely based on the JPS BMWs of Australian touring car racing, but I have put my own sort of flair on it.
Is it Jim Richards?
Like I said, largely based on the Jim Richards car.
Hey, good.
I really like the Z4 because I like the shape of it and I love the sound of it, being a little hard ribbing, little capacity V8.
Sorry.
I went looking for the decals on this. The car's actually painted gold.
Yep. So
The gold.
so you effectively went into the livery editor, made the car gold with the gold chrome paint. Yep. Or one of the gold chrome paints. Yep.
Yep. And then what I did was actually spend some time in the decal capture, the discovery screen, and went looking for people who made decals with the black background but the clear or the see-through shape, if that makes sense.
Yep. So effectively you've used what we call layering.
Yeah.
So start with the gold chrome base paint. Then you layer the black, but you do it in such a way that you leave exposed, for want of a better term, the parts of the gold chrome paint that you ultimately want to be seen.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I've just done that. I've found a series of JPS decals and supporting decals that have that effect, and that's the end result.
Yeah.
That's probably a cheater's way of actually trying to make a car more striking. The idea was to actually try and get a good coloured gold for the JPS BMWs, because I've tried a couple of times and no matter how well I colour match, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, totally agree. As somebody that's done, I think I've done in total 6 or 7 different iterations of JPS cars, including black ones and inverted ones where it's gold with black logos as opposed to black with gold logos. You're right, the standard colour palette in the game does not allow you to effectively produce what we would call a bright, glittery gold colour.
So that's the aim of this particular car, and I think it worked out quite well.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah. Very good work, which, if there's nothing else to tell us about the car, brings us to talking about the doable index and the livery creation index.
Probably both around about the 6 or 7 mark, I'd say. Purely just to try and find the decals. That was a real pain.
Yeah. Look, and again, I'm probably going to say that I think the doing or the livery creation index, I think you're being a bit maybe humble or generous, because whenever you start to, if you like, blank out a livery, it starts to become tricky, because obviously you've got to be very precise to get your lines right, particularly when you've got gaps and you've got edges to make those gaps remain consistent. So but look,
I found this one a touch easier than the M6.
Yep, sure.
Particularly with the bonnet, because the nostrils aren't as prominent.
Yep.
But yeah, you still got the pumped out guards, like the pumped out flares, the winglet, you got the rollover on the guards that go into the bonnet, and and you
can see that rear. You can see that rear guard. Obviously, as those lines hit that rear guard, they contort because the shape or the surface changes. So again, they're the things that become tricky, so that you can do a quality job. So what do we end up with? What do we end up with as a total score then?
About 14 odd in total.
So 7. So absolutely into the higher end of intermediate, basically.
Definitely not a beginner's one. That's for sure.
No, indeed not. All right, go jump into another one. Go jump into another BMW. And
Sport, have a look at the Aston Martin livery. He's to the left of you.
Chianti. Yeah.
Have a look at his livery. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think I've seen that car from Chianti before. Chianti is another friend of ours who is often in car shows. I don't know if he's watching the broadcast, but
I think he's also in the Summer Down Under series.
Oh, is he? I hadn't seen him.
Yeah, I think he is.
I hadn't seen him in there, but if he is, great. More the merrier. I don't know if ZMX is watching the broadcast, but if you get too disruptive, we'll have no choice but to
Nah, I know what to do. Hang on.
exit you
In
from the room,
situations like this.
ZMX. But,
There you go.
yeah,
Just
well,
punch him.
that's just going to encourage him to do
Yeah,
the same
no.
to you back. Anyway, let's focus on what we're here to do, which is to talk about the liveries in John's garage.
Ooh.
And
I have seen this. I have seen this livery. Oh,
and we've got another, looks like a GR4, John. Is that if our bearings right here? Yep, here we
is
go.
it okay if I have a guess what car it's based off, please?
You can have one guess, rookie. We'll give you that. Go for it.
I'm gonna take a stab and say it's from a.
BMW. We're gonna kick you.
No. I'm gonna take an actual answer here. Is it from a Holden HQ?
No.
What's it off?
You might as well say it was the Mona Lisa. That's about as accurate as you've been.
No, seriously. What's
All right, John. So spill the beans. Tell us what this livery is.
It's Camaro.
This is a BMW 635 livery, 1986.
Ah, fuck, I was way off.
With it's actually based on the European Touring Car Championship, and I think a lot of the like a lot of your Spa 24-hour endurance racing, production endurance racing.
Yep.
And it lasted. Oi, go away, you.
Yeah,
And
I think ZMX is on his way out. Anyway, keep going.
It lasted 2 laps at Bathurst in '86.
Oh no.
Roberta Ravalia was driving the car and binned it into the wall.
Wow. Now Roberta Ravalia, I believe, was a world touring car champion, or
he's I'm not sure if he was a world touring car champion, but he's been the European touring car.
European touring car champion. So a good driver is what I guess I'm getting at.
Yeah,
And to the second lap hit, he put it into the wall, did he?
Yeah, I'm not sure if he just had a sort of brain fart, or if he had a mechanical failure that caused the car to crash. I'm not too sure. But 2 laps into the race, it was in the wall. So, yeah, so they brought this into this massive international campaign to sort of spice up the Aussie event, and in the wall it went.
Wow.
And again, this was a very early car.
Yeah.
So trying to get the blue and white lines was a real pain.
Yep.
And trying to get I hadn't actually worked out how to do the blue background on the white Bob Jane T-marks.
Yep.
Detail. If you actually look at it, I've only just stretched it to try and get that effect. I hadn't tried and worked that out properly yet. So obviously I've learnt it since. I just haven't gone back to the car and corrected it yet.
Well, most of the time when I do that, do that. That's my technique. I just do the stretch. But you know, if I ever was doing a specific livery where I had to, then I'd probably go and do it. But luckily for me, so far I haven't had to.
Yeah, basically how to do it is how I've been doing it to get the full effect is you have your base decal, in this case it was white, and then you duplicate it, paint it your background colour, in this case dark blue, and then you move that blue layer underneath the white layer, and then from there you actually move it up a bit and to the left, so it's poking at the top left corner. Then you duplicate it, you push it down, so it's the bottom left corner, duplicate again, and so on, so on, so forth.
So you make four different background decals to allow you to put it all around your main white one in this case.
Which is the highlight,
yeah. But obviously you haven't done it on this car, but what you're saying is in the newer cars, in your newer cars you've now realised that that's the best way for you to get that 3D or that shadow or whatever you want to call it effect. Yeah.
You said my name?
No.
I heard shadow.
No. We talk about the shadow on the thing. Okay, so and this is a pretty accurate livery, John?
It's not too bad, yeah. I mean, it's obviously within limits, but I would deem that to be a fairly good replica.
Yeah, cool. All right, so let's talk about the you know, I think we've already covered that the M4 GR4 is a 3 as far as a car to do a livery on, so the doable index is a 3. So let's talk about the actual livery creation itself. How do we rate that?
Probably about 5.
5. All right,
Yeah,
gives a score of 4, which is you know, moving still in beginner class, but you know, nearing to intermediate. All right.
There's a few hints and tricks to sort of work on to make this car look better, like the shadowing of the wording and the lines in the Bob Jane, and all that sort of stuff. So it's not a slap together job.
Yep, very good, very nice. All right, next.
Thank you. Next.
And I'll do a bit of housekeeping, I think. Yeah, hey Swanee, can you invite Swanee into the chat if he wants to join? He's welcome to. Should say hi to Kiansti too. Before I do that, just a bit of housekeeping to do. Okay, I'll jump back into my trusty little Fiat.
Hey Sport, you the host of this lobby?
Yes I am.
Is it okay if I practice SF19?
If you which what?
Could I practice in a SF19?
You can go ahead and do laps in the SF19, just avoid hitting us as you come into turn 1 and 2.
Can't make any promises, no, I can.
Well, I hope you can.
No, I can.
Don't upset our broadcast. Yeah.
Are you maxed out in 3rd gear?
No, I'm in 4th gear now.
Oh, I've just seen you bang the shit out of 3rd.
Yeah, well this is not exactly a high-powered vehicle.
Well, you're in a Fiat 500, what do you expect?
Well, you just said you're flogging 3rd gear. I said, yes, I have no choice. Alright. So, for Australian motorsport fans that know anything about motorsport, over the last... Can I talk, please? Over the last, 25, 30 years, this vehicle will be very recognisable. And I know the rookie just said Tony Longhurst, but we'll probably correct rookie to a degree, because initially it wasn't Tony Longhurst that was the lead driver from memory, it was Alan Jones, was it not, John?
Yeah, so Alan Jones, Tony Longhurst actually owned and ran this team, but Alan Jones was in the second car. He was in car number 20.
So former Formula 1 world champ, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, so Tony Longhurst actually got Alan Jones back into sort of full-time racing. Originally he was with Colin Bond in the second of the Yellow Alpha that we mentioned before. But then I'm not too sure what happened, just sort of dissipated a little bit, but he came back in the late 80s with Tony Longhurst in the Benson and Hedges Sierra.
Yep.
And they continued on with the BMW.
And they ran pretty successfully too, didn't they, this Benson and Hedges team?
They didn't do too bad. So basically the connection with Longhurst is that he was actually originally with the JPS team.
Yep. Just
before they sort of dissolved.
Yep.
But Frank Gardner was actually running the JPS team, and he continued on with Longhurst to form the B&H Sierra team.
Yep.
And I'm going to assume over time with the connections that Frank Gardner and Longhurst had with BMW, that went back to them.
Yeah.
For whatever particular reason. But yeah, Longhurst has got a long affiliation with BMW, because of course he continues with them in the Bathurst 12 Hour with BMW.
Yep.
Obviously, he can't be sponsored by B&H anymore because the law states that we can't have tobacco sponsorship anymore.
Yep.
Yeah, so he continued on with B&H until '94.
Very good. We've already talked about the E30 as a car, so anything else to add before we talk about the livery and the indexes?
No, not really. I mean, it's a tricky livery to do. The black and white, so the black and red striping, the little blocks that sort of overlap and dissipate up the guard and up the bonnet.
Just try and get a bit closer for them to be viewed. Yep.
Yeah, I'll probably give this livery a sort of 5 in terms of difficulty because of those little blocks.
Yep.
Other than that, it's a lot of the decals are already available. You just grab them and place them accordingly.
Yeah, and there are the blocks there that you talked about, just under the hedges sign on the bonnet. Yep. All right. Very good. Okay. You got any more BMWs you'd like to show us, or that are left to show?
I'll show one more actually.
All right.
This is a bit of a childhood memory, this one.
While you're doing that, we might just quickly go over and have a look at Swanee's Daytona Coupe. Very nice. Very nice. Swanee's another friend of ours that races with us.
He's 55. He's actually got I think he said he's got a Thunderbird that he's building, and it's a 55 model, I think. That's what he said.
Right.
And I said, "Woo, nice."
Alrighty. In the meantime, John has returned with a very, very bright Z4M.
Don't tell me it's stock, because we all know Sport hates that.
I don't mind. I don't mind, but I just my thinking and my view around plain cars or clean cars, whichever you want to call them, is that in a car show, they're really not what you should be showing, because basically a plain or clean car is something that any of us can go and jump into in 30 seconds. So we could all turn up at the one car show in the exact same car, in the exact same colours. So what do you do then? The whole idea of car shows is to show unique cars, because you create a livery. Anyway, enough about that. John, tell us about this car.
This is a bit of a childhood. Well, yeah, you're not that far off there, Shadow. This was a Matchbox car I had based on a 635 CSL Le Mans car. And I had it. It was my favourite Matchbox car when I was a child growing up, and I lost it.
Right.
I'd never ever been able to find it for years and years and years, probably a good 20 years. And my wife actually managed to find one. Bought it like at a market or a garage sale or something. Yeah, and this was the colour scheme that I had. It was blue with the yellow and black striping on it, and it was number 7.
Okay.
So it's purely just for memory than
It's
anything
a
else.
sentimental livery.
Yeah,
Okay.
it wasn't to push boundaries with skills or anything like that. It's just going down memory lane.
Yep.
Nothing more.
Yep. And we talked earlier about using replicas to get started with as a great idea. Again, it could be something that's just so firmly burned on your own or imprinted on your own memory that you've got it in your head, and that might be a good place to start. So look, I'm pretty sure that looking at this livery, we're gonna say that we already know the car itself. I think we gave it a score of 4 or 5 from memory as a car, as the doable index. But I think it's pretty fair to say that the livery itself is not that complicated.
No, it's only, I think the whole livery took about maybe a dozen decals. So the only real difficulty behind it was the overlapping on the number. With the yellow, and even then it's not that complicated. I just did the yellow number 7, duplicated it, changed its colour, then moved it to give it that overlap effect. That's all I do.
So I'm going to see if I can try to show that. A bit tricky with this car at this height,
Yeah.
but yeah, actually I'm trying to see it.
Maybe if you change view.
I think we can just see it there, but I'll do a change of view, and I'll turn the car around a bit, or just come closer to you.
So the black and yellow stripes
And
on the
then you can see just there on the roof, and if I go a bit further forward like that, sorry John, you can now see the 7 that John's referring to on the bonnet of the car, just there near the scoop, towards the windscreen.
That's the 7.
Alrighty, so does that conclude your BMW liveries?
I think it does actually.
Excellent, alright, well, so after B comes C. What does that put us in?
Well, it's nothing the Bugatti actually. So.
Yes, sorry, haven't done the Bugattis, you're right.
I've got nothing. So.
No Bugattis, so we can skip them?
No Chaparral.
No Chaparral? No Chaparral?
Got quite a few Chevrolets.
What about Audi? Did we look at Audis?
Yeah, because we looked at the Bosch one, the blue and white Bosch
yes,
one.
we did indeed, okay. So Dodges, I know you've got some Dodges. Is there anything between Dodge and Chaparral?
Yeah, Chevrolet.
Chevrolet, oh! How could we forget Chevrolet? For all those Americans watching this broadcast, I apologise.
Oh no.
Yep.
It just got triggered.
Bring out some Chevrolets.
Now the problem I've got is I've got about 15 Chevrolets, but I've got about 35 Chevrolet liveries.
So there's more liveries than you have cars. Well, let's explain that for those people that are totally unaware of what we're talking about. In the game, you are able to create multiple liveries for the one car, but obviously you can only have one livery on one car at any time. But you can make multiple ones. So what John's saying is he's got about 15 cars, but he's actually made more than one livery for each of those cars. And the challenge with that, in terms of us showing them to you today in this broadcast, is that John would effectively have to leave this room, we call it a room, go into his garage, and then swap the livery over on the particular car for one of the other spare liveries, if I can use that term. So that would cause a bit of, bit of effort, a bit of time. Here's a very pretty car in my mind, a very striking car, and a car that we were racing against earlier today. Might have even been on the broadcast, I'm pretty sure. Tell us about this Corvette, mate. Tell us about this Corvette.
Yeah, it's a fairly, I suppose in relative terms, fairly simple design, although there's a lot of detail involved. It's just my own design. I just tried to use a different colour scheme with the Castrol colours. Yeah, I was bored one day, I thought I'd give it a go.
So there you go, folks. Livery design is a potential cure for boredom. So look, we have talked about livery design being therapeutic. One of our friends, V8s Are Us, he definitely sees the creation of the liveries as therapeutic. And just on cue, V8 has sent a message on the screen. How about that? I don't know what he's talking about. Your livery or my livery, I'm not sure, but yeah, it is a therapeutic pursuit. I think for me, it's therapeutic in that you can get so into it that your brain pretty much clears itself of every other thought, and you're totally focused on doing these liveries. Okay, so anything else to share about the car? I mean, it's very nice.
Not really. It's just I just use a lot of overlapping and layering of the colour scheme to get the striping and all that sort of stuff.
Cool. All right, give us a doable score of the car.
Probably 4 or 5.
Okay, fair enough. I won't argue with that. I totally agree. And the livery itself, as you said, there's a fair amount of work involved. As you said, it's not a quick or a simple livery. So what would you rate the livery creation itself at?
Probably around about the 5 or 6 mark, I'd say.
Yep. Anything you want to point out about the techniques that lead to that score?
Just a lot of overlapping and sort of patience to get the striping between the black and the red and the red and the black and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and so John's talking about those very thin, very thin lines here you can see between the green and the black, and then again between the red and the black at the front. You know, with the contour of the panels, etc. It's not always easy to get that right. So, but a very nice livery, very contemporary looking livery. Alright, bring out your next Chevrolet, mate.
I realise Swanee's got Days of Thunder.
Right,
Yep.
cold trickle.
Yeah.
Whatever his fucking name is, yeah.
Oh, Swanee, you're actually in the chat. Welcome.
Yeah, sorry mate, I was running between things here and there.
That's okay. We run this. We've started running our. We call this broadcast Warp Drive. It's where John and I talk about livery design and liveries in particular. So, but we thought today we'd do it this way and have a few people in the room. So, Rookie showed us a few of his liveries while we're waiting for John to change over, so we can have a bit of a drive around your livery as well. Now, okay, so what I didn't realise is that the number 46, which probably now is most famous for being Valentino Rossi's number, you know, former world champion, MotoGP/500, GP 500 motorbike rider. I didn't realise that in the movie Days of Thunder it was also the number that was used for, was it Cold Trickle's car?
Yeah, Cold Trickle, yeah.
Okay, there you go. That's very nice, Swanee. Swanee does lovely liveries, by the way, folks. If you want to check out his gallery at some point, do you tag yours as Swanee 007, or do you just tag them as the cars? You do, rightio. Just like myself, and I think John does the same.
No, I don't. I think I did do a few earlier.
Okay.
But yeah, if you just do yeah,
just search cars.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
Hopefully you find one.
Yeah.
Fun fact about Days of Thunder, the car that the movie that the car's based in, Dick Johnson's in it.
Is that right?
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is.
I did not know that.
When they filmed Days of Thunder, they were actually using the actual races as the base of the movie. So all the footage, obviously of the race cars, that was actually filmed during the 87 or 88 series.
Right.
Yeah, 88.
Series,
So
88. And what they did was they actually have the star cars and the stunt drivers at the back of the field to do all the smashing up and damaging, all that sort of stuff, whilst the actual race was going.
No way.
Yeah.
They
were actually real drivers.
Yep.
And not competing for the championship, but they were actually, I think the driver that was racing the City of Chevrolet car actually placed third in one of the races, from memory. He actually outgunned a lot of the professional drivers that were in that race.
Wow.
And this was at a time when Dick Johnson was probably at the peak of his career in terms of funding and spare money, and he dabbled with NASCAR. He took his car to America, and his car was filmed in it, and he actually got paid for it.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. So, look, I've just got a little funny side note on what you just share with me, Swanee in particular. So, is it fair to say that car that ran third was later disqualified because they found that he actually used Hollywood graphic effects to move him up to third or something?
No,
No?
but obviously he was disqualified for the fact that he wasn't actually a
Registered driver, didn't have the right license, or hadn't put his entry fee in or something like that. Yep.
But all the vehicles in the movie were prepared by Kendrick's Motorsports.
Oh, there you go.
Which is a very big NASCAR.
Yes, indeed they are. Yeah.
So all the cars in the movie, and if you actually see in the movie and on this particular livery down at the in front of the rear wheels is actually Kendrick Motorsports.
Okay,
So
well
they
I'll quickly run over and have a look. and then we'll come back and we'll start to talk about John's car, which looks like a NASCAR, but may not be. The left side or the right side?
They're both on both sides. Should be on both sides.
Well, I've just made a miss of that. Just bear with me, everyone. I'm probably too close. That's my dilemma. Is it down low? Is it, Swanee?
Yeah. So it's just at the like the sill panel in front of the rear wheels.
All right, and then we'll go back over here. Sorry, as I'm driving my wheel, my little button's playing up. Ah, yes, down the bottom there. I see it now.
It's actually in the movies as well. If you got an eagle eye in the movies.
Okay.
I must admit, I didn't know that, but I haven't watched the movie for a good 15, 20 years. So.
I watched the movie once, and I tell you what, in terms of corny movies as a motorsport fan, the number of times I wish I had a bucket to throw up. There's some of the bull crap that was in there, and you know, doing what was they doing, 320 kilometers an hour, and then he shoves it into another gear and floors it, and I'm thinking, what's that other gear? You're already doing 320 kilometers an hour, for goodness sake.
And they're only 4-speed boxes.
Yeah, I have to admit, a lot of the car movies, there's a couple that aren't too bad, but a lot of the car movies are just, like you said, they're already going.
It's like Fast and the Furious is also another reason why I get frustrated with Fast and the Furious.
Hey,
they do the same thing. Oh no, it's true, mate. As a real motoring person, it's very frustrating to see Hollywood do that sort of crap.
The best car movie I've seen, in terms of quality,
Bullet.
Rush.
Yeah, Rush was pretty good, but Bullet
Rush
to me is the best.
Oh yeah.
Bullet, that car chase, but Mad Max wasn't too bad. Yeah. All right, so let's talk about. Oh yes. The original Gone in 60 Seconds. Okay, so John, your livery, it looks like a NASCAR livery. Is it?
No. Well, it's to look like a NASCAR, but it's not a
genuine one. Yeah.
No.
Right.
So
and I'm not saying that to discredit your livery. I just for the purpose of people watching the broadcast, so that they know it's not actually a race car. It's just a inspired livery.
It was it's my own design, but it is themed to look like a NASCAR, and it was for that club we were once with, or I was once with M&R. the no such name club that you might refer to. No, I do have the M&R emblem on the number plate. If you look closely,
hang on. Oh yes, it is. There it is.
There it is. There, crossed out.
Yeah, I can't not hide my decals to not show that. Oh, actually, I can. I can do this. Oh, no, I can't. I can do it, but I've got to change my angle. Anyway, keep talking while I manoeuvre my little beast.
We had a NASCAR themed series, and we had to make a NASCAR themed car. Using Group 3 road cars, and this was my design.
Yeah.
And I know that car, by the way.
You know it. You know it.
I know JON-NIC's livery because he raced it in the N500 category.
There you
go. So, but it's not a replica or anything like that. It's just my own design. It's based on Texaco oil company, and I think it's Advan tyres memory with the red striping up the back.
Yes, indeed it is. That's definitely the Advan stripe.
That's the design behind it all.
Yeah. Alright, if there's nothing else that you'd like to share about this particular livery, let's give it a score. Now, is this the same Corvette as the one you were just in, or is this a different version?
So I was in the Group 4 before. This is the Group 3 road car.
Okay, so does this present a harder proposition for doing a livery, being the Group 3 road car?
Yep.
It does? Okay, so we're going to up the score for doable. Yeah, okay, so what are you going to give it?
This would be probably around about the 6 mark.
Okay, righto, so definitely into intermediate. Okay, and the livery creation itself, what do you give that as an index score?
Probably a 5 or 6.
Okay.
All the splotching at the front. Took a bit of thinking.
Yep, down the very front, you mean?
Yeah.
Down where it says Havoline, and around the if you like, the intake or the grill.
Yep.
Yep.
And the grill itself is actually different. That's not part of the bonnet. You had to make that. I had to make that work in the other category.
Yep. Yep. Giving it that black out look, if you like. Yep. Okay. Very good. All right. So what do we end up with? We end up with a score of 4.5 or 5.
No.
You said 7, I think you said, for the doable. And then you said 6 or 7, did you not, for the creation?
Yeah, yeah.
So call it 15 divided by 2, we get 7.5. So that's perhaps the highest one we've scored so far, I think.
Yeah, but that's also one of my youngest ones as well.
Sure. But effectively what we're saying is, for designers out there, that's a sort of intermediate level design. Very good. I see Roadhouse has joined us. For those of you that don't know Roadhouse is a fellow player of mine who is part of the DERP, or Down Under roleplay community, and Roadhouse himself is now I'll probably get this title wrong, but his role in the DERP roleplay community is he's the emergency or tow captain, I think, to be more accurate. He leads all the tow vehicles that effectively go and recover vehicles in the roleplay. If the vehicle has a shunt or sustains some damage, Roadhouse is in charge of all the recovery vehicles. So welcome, Roadhouse. Thanks for coming in. As you may have picked up already, what we're doing is we're just going through some of JON-NIC's cars at the moment as part of our weekly Warp Drive broadcast. So again, this looks like a different model of Corvette. So tell us about this car, John.
So this is the road-going standard, I can call it standard Corvette.
Yep.
It's not a Group 3 road car or anything like that.
Yep.
It's painted in the Grand Sport, the current model Grand Sport colours.
Yep.
So the white striping over the car and the 2 red striping over the front guard.
Okay. Now I noticed the plate says JDM, and for those who are in the game or familiar with the game, they'd probably be sitting there going, that's not a JDM car, that car's made in the United States, not in Japan. The number plate therefore probably doesn't mean JDM in that sense, John. What's the...
So basically it's my initials and birth year.
Alright, so for any of the girls out there interested in Johnny, is married, I must mention that. But as you can see there, he was born on the 0 date of 84. I think that just means the year of 84. So there you go. If you're in that sort of age group and you want to send John your underwear or something, go ahead. I see another friend of ours has joined the room. Tell us about, is there anything else to talk about this car, John?
No, it was just literally made to replicate the road car.
And
it was actually made for the derp thing you were just talking about before, so.
And it's also... Sorry, after you.
I was going to say, it was literally made for the road role play thing that goes on the game, so it's got the rego plate, it's got the road livery, there's no racing numbers or anything like that on it.
Now, but am I also right in saying it's also very similar to GT 4 or 5 version Corvette? I'm trying to remember which Gran Turismo version they had that.
There was a C4 Corvette.
Yeah.
Grand Sport, which
the Grand Sport, that's it.
Yeah.
Very similar.
Yeah, so the early one, the C4 model, had the twin white stripes, whereas this particular one actually does have the fat white stripe with the very thin surround stripe.
Very good.
So, but yeah, it's same sort of colour scheme, same sort of, just a modern take on the original concept.
Yep. Alright, again it's a different model of Corvette, so first question, doable livery index for the car itself?
Probably a 3 or 4.
So pretty simple. Yep. And the livery itself.
Yeah, 1, 2.
Okay, so definitely beginner level.
Yeah.
Alright, cool. Alright, get you to jump out and jump into another Chevrolet. And while you're doing that, another friend that we talked about earlier, V8s Are Us, has joined the room, and he's brought out one of his liveries, the Rothman's Mustang. And we'll just do a bit of a drive around and have a look at that. He hasn't joined the chat, I don't believe, so I don't think he can hear us. But yeah, Stuart's an avid car fan. Actually has a very impressive scale car collection. Also a keen livery designer. It's very nice. Alright, in the meantime I hear the skids, which can only mean one thing, and that is that John has arrived with another car. So let me
The skids you're hearing is from me on YouTube.
I think John just did a handbrakey into the spot. Okay, this is a Camaro.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about this livery. I know it's a new livery, so tell us about it.
This is actually quite a recent one, so I just wanted to sort of have a bit of a play with my own design. I was trying to muck around with the what's it called? The
Watermark?
The watermark, that's it, thank you. The watermark on the car, just to try and give it that new effect, because I hadn't really done a lot with it. And I thought Lynx was a sponsor I've never used before. I thought I'd give it a bash.
Yeah.
And this is what I come up. I went through the discovery to find the decals, and this is what I come up with.
Yeah. Hi, Keen Gamer, who's just joined the broadcast. Yeah, and look, I don't know whether Lynx is a brand. It's a men's deodorant and antiperspirant and body perfume, whatever terminology you want to give it. I don't know whether it's a brand that's international, but certainly it's very popular in Australia. Whoops.
Very much the schoolboy's cologne, I suppose you can call it.
Yeah, well, I actually use it, so it makes me feel younger when you say that.
I use it too.
Yeah, I think it's probably one of the most popular for men in Australia. Full stop.
Yeah,
All right. So, anything else you can tell us about the livery itself, or is there anything you want to talk about the car itself?
Yeah, it was like I said, it's just a couple of techniques I tried to use, like the water marking. I tried to avoid the symmetry. So if you look at the bonnet,
yep,
the length is off one side and the claw marks are on one side, and it's the same at the back.
Yep.
And I try to give it that sort of modern European look by giving the car brushed aluminium mirrors, which is very common on the European hot hatchbacks and stuff like that.
Yep.
I just got a party invite from V8.
Yeah, V8 has a bad habit of not checking if there's already a party going. Anyway, so we talked about watermark. Maybe we should quickly explain it. On the side of the car that I'm looking at right now, we can see an image that's there in grey. I presume it's some kind of lion or tiger or cat or some description. It's a lynx. Oh, it's the actual lynx is a cat, right? Yeah. And the idea of watermark is much like on paper, that you effectively have a background silhouette of something, an image or wording or text or whatever it is, and it's visible, but it certainly doesn't dominate that document or that surface area. And so the whole concept of doing a watermark on a livery is to do this similar sort of thing. You're aware of it, but it's certainly not the focus of the object, for a better term. And you can achieve the watermark effect by making use of the lighter white, grey hues within the colour palette within Livery Editor.
This is a similar colour to what you're actually applying it onto.
Correct, that's right. Just a bit of a shade or two away from your base colour. Yeah, you can see that there. Alright, so that gets us to the point of talking about the car itself, the doable index for the Camaro. This is the ZLE to abbreviate. It's got the rear spoiler, yeah. How doable is it as a car for a livery?
It's quite comparable to a Group 3 car actually, with the winglets on the front and all that sort of stuff. The rear wing, the separate rear wing. Have I made a mistake on the car, or?
I haven't noticed one. Not that I try to do that to point out any flaws, because I know when I bring mine out, there's going to be lots of points of contention. Where do you think there's something not right?
On the green winglets, it looks as though I actually haven't coloured the front of it in, or is it just?
So you mean the left and right wingtip, or you mean the actual?
At the front of the car.
Oh, at the front of the car. Sorry, I'm looking at the rear end. Okay, so we've got a green wingtip on the left, and a green wing.
Not coloured in properly, or?
At the front there, on the front right. Sorry, let me just adjust my wheel so I can see. I'm not sure whether that's perhaps just the light hitting underneath it. I think it's just the underneath, because when you did that, from what I can see here, I can't see. If I drive up like this, and you can have a better look at the front. Maybe the end tips towards the grill, maybe, and not filled in. That could just be a depth thing, yeah.
Yeah.
I think. But it's very hard to notice it with the black background. So yeah.
That's right. Nothing.
All right. So what do we say? Doable? We think it's comparable with a GT3 car.
Yeah.
Yep. Which I think we scored as a 4 from memory. Maybe a 5. 4 or 5, I can't remember now. And then the livery itself, what are we scoring?
I'd probably call it a 5.
Yep. Alright, so a 9.
Different technique, like your watermarking and avoidance of symmetry and whatnot.
Yeah, alright. So our friend Verts has just sent me a notification about his room. We just need to send him an invitation so he can join our party. And while I'm doing that, Johnny, do you want to jump into another car, or is there more you want to say about that car? Cool. Excellent. Yep. Understand. We can do one more. We'll get Stuart into the chat to hear the last one, and you jump in the car.
Alright.
Hopefully Stuart will join the party in a second and we can explain to him. And there he is. Hi Stuart, so welcome.
Hey,
just so you know, John and I are doing our new weekly Warp Drive broadcast right now on YouTube, and during those broadcasts we basically go through liveries and talk about the liveries, give people some insights into either the history of the car if it's a replica. We're then also talking about the actual process of creating the livery, any tips or tricks, what kind of grade of livery it is, how hard the car is to do a livery on, that sort of stuff. So we're just doing this last car, and then we're going to. Well, this is the first time we've done it at this time of the day. We normally do it in the morning, but we thought we'd give it a crack at night. So this is the last one we're doing because it is getting a little late.
I just got home a couple of hours ago and
fair
fell
enough.
asleep.
Oh well, that's okay. That happens, hey. All right, John. So we're looking at another Camaro, but this is a different version of the Chevrolet Camaro, and obviously with its own livery. And for those people here in Australia, they will see those 3 letters right there and immediately understand what they mean. But for international people watching the broadcast, you want to tell us a little bit about this livery?
Yep, so basically this is Holden, sorry, the car itself is actually just a road-going Camaro. It's not a Group 3 or anything like that. The livery I base it on is actually our, at the time, our sort of premium Holden high performance division. It was called the Holden Dealer Team, which were the main sort of sponsors for the Australian touring car series that we had in the 70s and 80s. And they were actually building a series of high performance cars to sort of homologate the race car in a sense. The main guy, Peter Brock, who was the lead driver, was sort of in charge of homologating the road car, and he used the early model Commodores as the base, and this was the livery they used to sort of signify that there was something special on the road, I suppose. It wasn't just an ordinary sort of V8 Commodore, it was something a bit more special.
Yeah, and of course ultimately the Holden Dealer Team, or HDT, became Holden Special Vehicles.
Long story short, yes.
Yeah.
So
of course, it wasn't just it wasn't, just a simple, one day we're HDT and the next day we're HSV, but ultimately that's where the HDT moniker and the development of these more specialised cars, that's where they progressed to being done by HSV. And for the international people watching, I guess you became aware of these cars probably in around, I think, between 2012 or 2013, when they actually exported some of them to both the US and to Europe as Vauxhalls from memory in in Europe, or England in particular, and as what did they call them in the States? Did they call them Camaros?
No, they didn't. They didn't call them Camaros at all.
Okay, Stu, you can educate us here.
Well, firstly, the Holden Dealer Team started because Holden pulled out of motorsport.
Right.
And a guy called Peter Lewis Williams, who worked for George Patterson Advertising, and Dad came down to Melbourne to handle the Holden account. They got all the Holden dealers together.
Yep.
And they chipped in the money so that Holden didn't have to pay for the motor racing. That's all.
Okay.
So that's how Holden deal.
So all the dealers effectively carried the chain to allow Holden to continue to race in Australian motorsport. Okay.
Correct.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. So we go forward then to to the 21st century. And
well, the Commodore was based on an Opel Record, which is a German car, and Australia made their own version, which is a much better version.
Sure.
The Commodore was never sold in America. In the early days, it wasn't.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yes, only in the from 2000 and, as I was saying, I think 2011 or 2012 they started to export, and Pontiacs, I think. Yeah.
And in fact, I saw a number of development cars, left-hand drive cars, from Holden on the road before they started exporting to the States.
Yeah.
But that failed in the arse because it didn't. I think they were sold as Camaros. Then they started exporting the Statesman, trying to get the police department to use those cars to replace the aging Ford Crown Victorias.
Yep. Okay.
So that's what's happened over there. But certainly, John, you're right with the Holden Dealer Team. And Brock came in and basically started holding up his own cars. But he got very little money from Holden.
Yep.
And then of course there was a split when he built the Director and
the polarizer, which definitely polarized him and Holden.
Well, the problem was he was claiming things because he had an independent rear suspension on the car, which wasn't currently offered on the Commodore.
Yeah.
And Holden couldn't warranty the cars.
Yeah, for that reason. Yeah, fair enough.
And other reasons too, with that stupid bloody polarizer thing.
Yeah. So I know that in Europe they did also they did sell, I think, the HSV Utes, and I think a number of the sedans went over there as Vauxhalls too.
In the UK, the Vauxhall VXR it was called.
Yes, that's the one, the VXR. Yeah.
And I was
and the Monaro as well.
actually work at HSV in 2017 and building the last of the HSV Commodores, the W1s and all that sort of stuff. And a lot of them did go overseas. A lot of them did go to England. We actually had to build them a little bit differently so they would comply to the British law.
Yeah.
So we actually had to badge them as a Vauxhall, put different wheels on them. We had to put a centre in the back of the car. We actually had to fit the high intensity rain light in the back of the car by law.
Oh, really?
Because of all the fog and everything. Yeah,
That's
of course.
I didn't realise that.
Yeah.
Jesus, John.
Yeah, we actually had to fit the high intensity rain lights on the car.
One quick question, did you have to put extra insulation in there to cover the side effects of the pommies whinging and the overall ambience around the car?
No, because
and of course those English viewers watching, I'm saying it in jest, please don't.
And I still think Mark Scaife holds the record for top speed in the utility.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Because he did it in a Maloo, R8 Maloo, and it was some stupid amount, some stupid top speed.
I think Rookie just chipped in with 297 kilometres an hour. Was that what I heard?
Yeah,
that had to be downhill, right? Like, you know, Mount Kosciuszko downhill sort of thing.
It was on an airstrip. It was on a flat airstrip.
Yep.
So what kind of power was that? What kind of power was that you generating? Yeah, but how much power?
It was running 317 kilowatts, I think.
There you go.
Memory
see, I'm struggling to see how the 317 kilowatt HSV Ute can achieve that speed.
Well, it had no weight.
It's a Holden, mate. What do you expect?
Well, you do the physics and you compare. Well, compare the other vehicles that you know of that are capable of achieving plus 300 kilometres an hour. Every single one of them has at least 50 to 70 kilowatts more than that.
The biggest difference is as Stuart said, it doesn't have the weight, but it does have a 7+ litre engine, which I think was also supercharged. So the amount of torque behind it, which you can get your high speed from, was phenomenal.
Was it an LS1, John?
No, I think they were actually an L98. The W1s, which is your $200,000 HSV, they were
the bigger engines, right?
Yeah. Wasn't that the 427 engine?
Basically, yeah. They were a 7-litre engine, and I think they were supercharged. They were a phenomenal engine because we had to fit them.
I actually think Skate had to put some weight in the ballast in the back of the Ute too.
Well, I would have thought so too, because it would have been amazingly loose at the rear end at that speed without a significant spoiler on the back, which I think the standard Utes didn't have, did they?
Well, the only spoiler
maybe they added some things.
Well, the only spoiler was the guy behind the wheel.
Saying that,
let's give a shout out to Mark Scaife in case he's watching.
No, Scaife is a damn good driver, I tell you.
Yes, he is a good driver. He was a good driver.
Oh, I've known Skate for I raced go-karts against him in indoor go-karts. And I finished second. He made me look. He was mucking around. He beat me by a lap. He's quick.
Alrighty. So, is there anything else we want to say about this particular car, John, before we give it a doable index and a livery creation index score?
No, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Alright, so as a car, obviously a different version of the Camaro to what we saw a minute ago. This one an easier one to work with as far as doing a livery?
It is an easier one. The only really thing that I've struggled with it is if you look at the shape of the bonnet, the cutout, particularly towards the headlights, it's not square. It's actually it's actually very, very rounded.
Kind of rhombusy shape, but with round edges, isn't it? Yeah, two bonnet scoops we can see now. Yep.
Yeah, well, the nostrils isn't much of a problem. It's more the actual shape of the bonnet towards the headlights. It's not a square, flat panel. So if you're going to put decals and stuff all over the bonnet, you've got to be wary as to where you place them, because you'll just have to double up and put them on the front of the car, and you'll have to muck around with the camera angles and stuff like that to make it all match up.
Yeah, well, of course we'll see some more of your Camaro liveries. I'm guessing there are more for us to see. We're not going to see them tonight because, as you said, it is getting late.
Bartlett.
And
I should bring in my KB Channel 9 car.
Well, I tell you what, I'll give you 20 seconds to do that, Stuart. We'll have a quick look at it, and then we'll probably wrap up the broadcast because we have been going for 2 hours and nearly 52 minutes. So.
There's one category I really want to be in Gran Turismo, and it's the sports sedans with like Tony Riccadella and all that.
It's a wonderful idea, and I have lots of great memories of watching the sports sedans and super sports sedans hooking around the various tracks. The challenge we've got, Rookie, is that as a product that potential PlayStation users would be interested in, there's probably not a lot of people out there that would even know what those cars are.
Yeah, that's the problem.
They probably don't even have the slightest idea of what a fucking top fuel dragster is.
Oh no, they'd have.
Oh, they know that.
They're in England.
They know that, but this is a racing game, not a drag game. So.
Well, no, that's not a. You know what I mean, but if they made like Gran Turismo 7 a bit like GT6, where you can design your own cars and put rear diffusers and etc., then yes, I'll try and make a sports sedan.
Well, they won't. Because the problem is that the manufacturers like Chevrolet and Fiat and Bath and Ferrari, they've poured in thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to to have the cars developed to the point where they're actually real. The last thing I do is get some 19-year-old pinhead to disassemble the car and just slap aftermarket body bits all over it. They're not going to do that.
I did say replica.
Well, whatever.
So not to the closest thing, but to the closest thing, if that makes any sense.
They won't do that. They'll leave the cars the way they are.
Yeah, I think what we can definitely, there's some conclusions we can draw from what we see in the current GT Sport game in the livery editor, where certain cars have certain areas of the cars where you can't do anything to them. Aston Martin is one example where you cannot do anything to particular parts of the rear of the car. So, what's become clear is that all of the brands have actually realised the marketing value of a game like Gran Turismo on PlayStation. Well, it's about building brand loyalty, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
brand awareness and brand affiliation. But what they've also become aware of is that they need to also protect the integrity of their product in the game.
Correct.
And so,
that's why you can't stick big spoilers on them as you put in GT6.
Yeah. So that's what's happened, Rookie. In the past, the manufacturers kind of were like, "What's going on over here? They're using our car, or they're not potentially doing us any real harm that we know of." Whereas as Gran Turismo came out and all of the hoo-ha around affiliating with FIA and all of that sort of stuff, and obviously the car company has gone, "Oh, hang on a minute, this is actually not some idle, trivial thing. There's actually serious marketing cachet in this stuff."
Well, have a look at the disclaimer.
I made GT2 replicas. I made GT2 replicas.
Yeah, but just look for example the Mazda RX Vision. Look at all the effort that Mazda put in to working with Gran Turismo to launch that as a Vision car in the game, and the Supra is another example of it.
But the biggest thing is when you log on first and you look at the disclaimer from Ferrari.
Oh yeah, this Ferrari one, yeah, unbelievable, isn't it?
That's the whole reason they're doing that, and they want to protect the brand, etc.
Yeah.
But as you said before, Mazda are using it's a perfect platform for them to and they've always talked about a rotary coming out again. Whether it does or not is another issue.
You do realise that's an RX-9, right?
Well, let's see. Let's see, because Mazda's most huge challenge is making the rotary engine compatible with all the fuel economy and emissions.
Yeah, it's going to be Euro
and that's
compatible.
the problem.
Yeah, that's their
the
challenge.
Reason why they never got into the States, because of the pollution laws in the States.
Yeah.
True.
The rotary, for all of its great things, isn't great when it comes to emissions and fuel economy.
fuel economy, Jesus. It drinks
I know,
more
I
than
used
a
to own one.
35-year-old alcoholic.
I used to own the twin turbo Series 6, so I know what they're like as far as fuel goes.
I had a Series 2. And that thing bled me dry.
Yeah.
Well,
Alright, Johnny, well, thank you for showing us that Camaro. Now we see that Stuart has brought out another very famous Australian motoring car livery. Not necessarily the car, because the actual car that livery was on was a Camaro, I believe.
Yeah, it was a Camaro, yeah.
Yeah, and what year are we talking, Stu?
It was 80...
79, 83.
Okay.
Yeah. Correct, John. Correct.
Making me feel old, because I remember sitting there as my dad would always. Well, he didn't make me do it. I wanted to do it, but it was a bit of a ritual for us to watch the Bathurst race every October. And I remember watching Bartlett go on his lid, as they say.
Yeah, but he wasn't the first one to drive. The first guy was Ron Dixon. He bought out the Camaros in the same year that the in-car camera from Channel 7 was put into Williamson's Celica.
Yeah.
And that was Ron Dixon. I think the car was sponsored by Pepsi, I think. Yep. Had some money in it from Pepsi.
Was he a Speedway guy? I'm pretty sure my uncle worked for him at one point.
Ron Dixon?
Yeah. Am I confusing him with somebody else, maybe?
I'm not sure.
Anyway, sorry, I don't want to interrupt.
And then the car developed over the years. Then eventually it morphed into Bartlett driving the car, but he was hamstrung by the fact that it was running front discs and drums at the rear.
Wow. In a race car.
In a race car.
Weighing how much? And what was the weight of that car?
Well, they all ran the same minimum weight, but it was just a big car.
What was that, like a ton and a half sort of thing? Or
I can't remember. But
they weren't light cars, right?
No, but the thing was so quick in a straight line.
Well, that's the next question. What kind of power was that car producing? Because it would have been a decent size engine in it.
I can't tell you the power, but I know down Conrod it was quicker than the Commodores.
And very fast car with drum brakes.
Well, he was braking halfway down Conrod so he could turn into pit straight. That's how quick the damn thing was.
What he really needed was wind down windows and an anchor.
Oh man. And then in 1 year he had an altercation with a guy called Ron Wanless.
Oh yes, Wanless. Yep.
Yeah, and Bartlett got out of the car, and I've known Kevin for a long time through Dad.
He's not a small fella either.
Well, Bartlett got it. Says, when I find out who it is, I'm going to punch him in the nose. Well, Ron Wanless was an ex-boxer.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. Jeez, I'm feeling old now when I remember all that stuff.
Yeah.
But when he went off at the top of the mountain, he did. He didn't have a flat tire. The flat tire didn't cause him to crash. If you have a look at the footage, he was sideways and he clipped the wall, and the tire happened to be a byproduct of him hitting the wall.
Yeah.
It
was just the angle that the rear wheel made contact with the wall that really flipped him over, wasn't it? I remember watching the replay, and he just happened to hit that wall as you come up from the cutting. You go around that right-hander and then the next right-hander, before you get into Reed Park, and he just was sideways, and he just happened to hit it at the wrong angle to cause the car to rebound and climb the wall at the same
Stephen Johnson,
time.
A number of years later, clipped the wall at the same spot, but didn't hit it as hard.
Roll, yeah.
But it stuck him across the other side, and he hit the other side of the wall at Reed Park.
Yeah.
And ended up in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
So Steve didn't hit it as hard as KB did. So but it was a big shunt.
Yeah, indeed.
But the days of the rescue cars, rescue trucks going out there and picking up cars. Yeah. I told you my story about me standing on the 85 when the Jaguars are here.
Yep.
And standing there, we had to go up and pick up a Commodore on the inside of Reed Park because the dad doing the book, and I'm standing there on the apex of the corner taking photographs.
Yeah, yep.
And I've got photographs in Dad's book of me of the shots of the car.
Yeah, so I don't know whether Rookie knows this, but Walkinshaw was a name that was first associated with Jaguars rather than racing Commodores. I don't know if you know that.
He also,
Shadow,
but prior to that, he was running Rovers.
Yes, he was. That's right. Walkinshaw was running Rovers even before that. Yeah.
But
very good.
The Jaguars are so quick and noisy.
Yes, they were.
Beautiful sound. Beautiful sound.
All right. Well, look, we've been running the broadcast for a couple of hours now. I think John actually has left. But
he's left the building.
He's left the building, as they say. Well, he's left the room, or you may still be in the chat. But look, guys, we're going to wrap it up there. I want to say a big thank you to all of the guests, albeit that they were surprise guests. But I want to thank them all: Stuart, Swanee, Rookie, for sharing some knowledge with us on tonight's Warp Drive broadcast. We look forward to seeing you all again at the next broadcast, where we continue to go through liveries. We might again do some racing at some point during the broadcast, but for now...
yes, round 1, Monza No Chicane is this Sunday.
Oh, yeah, well, we won't be doing a Warp Drive broadcast tomorrow night. Highly unlikely anyway, but yeah, guys, thanks very much for watching, and if you like what you saw, please subscribe and follow. John and I want to keep doing this on a regular basis, and we're interested in feedback. And right on cue, Swanee has bought out a said TWR, or Tom Walkinshaw Racing. Where are you? There you are, Tom Walkinshaw Racing Jaguar. So we'll let Stu bring his out, and they can park them together, and we'll then wrap the broadcast up with a quick image. Yeah. Come on, Stu, operate fast, buddy.
I'm going. Just
to wrap the broadcast up. If Rookie can hop out of the way, that'd be handy. Thank you, Rookie. Out of the way, buddy, please. Or else I'll have to hit you with my high-powered vehicle. I haven't talked about the vehicle I'm in tonight, but let me tell you about it. This vehicle's claim to fame is that it is the world's most modified F40. Now, perfect timing from T.S. Williams over here. He's bought out his F40, but this vehicle... Hang on, let me finish what I'm saying, Ethan. This car I'm in is the world's most modified F40. The only thing on this car that has not been modified is the F40 badge on the back of it. Everything else in this car has been totally modified.
So you haven't done anything other than you've done everything else, but you haven't.
I've modified the whole car except for the F40 badge. And you can see it, it's on the back. The F40 badge is still there, it remains untouched. But the rest of the car has been totally modified. It's the world's most modified F40, I say to everybody. Alright, so here we are with the with the Jag twins. Tom Walkinshaw Racing twins. I'm not going to say too much about them other than to change the view. So that view's not too bad actually, but I will jump to a different view. So you can, actually that's not the best spot. Let me move around a bit. So these cars ran at Bathurst, and I think at other places too.
They did. They ran in Europe, and they ran in the British Touring Car Championship. And that's when Gracie went over with his VK Commodore. With no money, and Gracie won a couple of races. But the Jaguars had so much money thrown behind them that Gracie ran out of money. I think Graham Bailey from the Chickadee guy, he chucked some money in as well. But the Yokohama tyres that Gracie was running in the UK weren't conducive to the cold weather. And I think that caused the issue, but his car was
and of course we all know that Alan Grice was a terrible knitter, so he couldn't exactly put booties on them.
Grice was... Well, Grice made his Bathurst debut as a co-driver to my father in 1968.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
124 Sport Fiat.
There you go.
And
Wow.
Dad was quicker than Grossi too.
Ah, good on him. Good on him.
when I gave my eulogy,
But he wasn't allowed to. But he wasn't
passing,
allowed to say anything, right? Because Grossi was a ginger, and it would be regarded as, you know, picking on a ginger, right?
I've since spoken to Grossi a number of times indirectly.
Yeah. Alan Grice, for those of you who don't have a clue who we're talking about, and you can look him up on Google. He was a very successful racing car driver in Australia.
Dad won Bathurst twice. I always said that Dad said he taught Grossi everything he knew, and indirectly, you know, I referenced Grossi. I said, "I'm sorry, mate. If you'd listened to Dad." If you hadn't listened to Dad, you would have won more than two Bathursts. You would have won a lot more.
There you go. All right, well, that's a fantastic note for us to end the broadcast on. As I said, I want to thank you guys for volunteering to share some knowledge and information in some of your liveries. You know, this is the first warp drive where we've actually had other people jump in and be part of the broadcast, and it's been fun, and I'm sure we'll do it again. But in the meantime, like I said, please subscribe to the channel, IFLOWBOY at YouTube. The more subscriptions we get, the more we can focus on the things that we do. Please send us some messages, give us some feedback, give us some ideas if there's things that you want us to show you. But otherwise, please look out for the next broadcast. But for now, I'm going to wish you all a good night, good morning, or good evening, and we'll see you all next time.
Pleasure to be on.
Cheers, guys.